Sales event happening right now. Rev up your engines because the 2023 Kia Forte LXS is calling your name. Zoom through town in this sleek ride for just $149 a month plus tax. Unbeatable style and affordability in one package. But wait, it gets even better. Feel the adrenaline rush with the 2024 Kia K5 GT line, the hottest sedan this side of the Pacific. Get behind the wheel for only $299 a month plus tax. Experience power, performance, and sophistication like never before. Don't miss out on the best selection we've had in over 3 years. Check us out at Elk Grove Kia or elkgrovekia.com. 2023 4J 24-month lease of $149 plus tax with $41.30 required at signing, residual of $52.56 at 10K per year, 20 cents per mile over, 0 security deposit required, subject to Kia finance approval. GK 8921 expires 8/31/23. 2024 K5 24-month lease of $299 plus tax with $47.12 required at signing, residual of $21.72 at 10K per year, 20 cents per mile over, 0 security deposit required, subject to Kia finance approval. GK 8932 expires 8/31/23.
Elk Grove Kia.
Who's ready for some Kings basketball?
Inside is Sabonis, a two-hand rip, a brilliant pass from De'Aaron Fox.
The NBA schedule is out and we can't wait for opening night at Golden One Center on Friday, October 27th when the Kings take on the Warriors. Tickets for all preseason and regular season games are on sale now. So head to kings.com/tickets to get yours. Be there live to see the Beam Team in action and cheer on your Sacramento Kings this season.
Let me tell you, if you can't sense it, this place is absolutely nuts.
2 years ago, Americans watched in horror as a crisis unfolded at the Kabul airport.
There's desperation and anguish.
More than 80,000 Afghans have since arrived in America, but this story is still unfolding. I'm Andrea Smartin. In my new podcast, Stranger Becomes Neighbor, we'll find out what happens to these new arrivals in our communities. Who would help our newest neighbors? Follow us at kslpodcast.com, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you listen.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
No look, Bibby to Weber, down the lane, flying jam. There's your play of the night right there. It's inside is Sabonis, a two-hand rip, a brilliant pass from De'Aaron Fox.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
Happy Monday, I'm Simone with your Sactown Sports headlines. San Francisco 49ers able to lasso the Denver Broncos with the come-from-behind win with the final score of 21-20. The victory notches their first win of the preseason.
Thank you.
In part thanks to Jake Moody's late walk-off.
Who's your squad again, Jay?
Set, kick, high enough, long enough, and the Niners win.
Yeah.
The quarterback carousel continued to turn as Brock Purdy got the party started and went 4 for 5, throwing 65 hot ones. But the saga of Trey Lance continues to intrigue as the third-year gunslinger followed Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold to finish the day 12 of 18 with 173 passing yards, one passing TD, and one pick. And finally, Oakland Athletics host the Kansas City Royals at 6:40, and you, of course, can listen along right here on Sactown Sports. I'm Simone. Those are your headlines. And now back to more Sactown Sports.
Oh, what's going on in Sactown Sports, SactownSports.com. I'm Brian Noe. He's Jason Ross. And I see now a couple of things. The background is beautiful right there in the Sactown Sports Studios. Now, Jason, did you get rid of the frosted tips? I might be misremembering. Last time I saw you had the frosted tips or the mullet. I can't remember exactly. What's going on upstairs for you?
Well, everybody asks that every day. But the other part of that is I am really now intrigued, Brian, to know the image you had of me. I one time had a mullet, maybe-ish, but never the frosted tips. There's not much up here. That would be tough to frost.
Hey, man. Well, you know what? You could have a resurgence, I feel like.
How so?
I don't know.
A procedure?
Maybe a procedure that could work. I got a question for you right out of the gate, Jason. You got to give me some advice, okay? First time filling in on Sactown Sports. Do I go with truth or do I go with what most people would want to hear? What do you think is the better game plan?
I think you got to hit him with a dose of truth, which might be painful is my guess, but I don't know where you're going. I'm intrigued. I want the truth. I can handle the truth.
You can. I know you can handle it. I don't know if the people listening can, but here's the truth. Okay. Brock Purdy is the epitome of a system quarterback. Brock Purdy is a poor man's Jared Goff. That's the truth. I don't understand
what is going on with all this over-the-top Purdy-palooza love fest. We got a little bit of that in the preseason game against the Broncos over the weekend. This guy, look, he looked sharp. He looked sharp. Yeah, I'd look sharp too on a little play-action rollout throwing to a wide-open guy who's 5 yards away. Like, it's just obnoxious at this point. I don't know if people hate me already. I'm not trying to be hateable. I'm just telling you, it's nothing against Niners fans. It's more so like anybody I hear from national media, they're just, drooling, Purdy, Purdy. Why? Why are you convinced? Where do you stand on Purdy?
Well, you're as good as your options, right? And I think right now they do have two capable is where I'll go with other quarterbacks in Sam Darnold and Trey Lance. But this is a Super Bowl ready team. And I think, obviously, the quarterback, Brian, is one of the most important positions in football. But I wonder how important it is for this team. They're so loaded in every other spot. And can they have the dreaded word for quarterbacks, but just a game manager, doesn't make mistakes, makes quick decisions, quick processes. And I think that's what Purdy is for Kyle Shanahan. But, yeah, I don't know that he's ever going to have all these staggering numbers, but he may not need to for this team.
Well, you're right. He might not need to. It's crazy the amount of talent that he's surrounded by. Think about just the preseason game. He was well taken care of. He's got Deebo Samuel. He's got Brandon Ayuk out there. They didn't have, think about this. He's still surrounded by a lot. And they didn't have Trent Williams. Right. They didn't have Christian McCaffrey. They didn't have George Kittle. And he's still in great hands. So what Brock Purdy has shown is that, yes, he's exceeded expectations as a former Mr. Irrelevant. He was the 262nd overall pick. So he exceeded expectations. But my thing is, why would anybody be convinced this is a franchise quarterback? Based on what? 8 games, including those playoff games? One where he lasted a quarter and a half, right? Like, why would you be convinced this is a franchise quarterback? And I don't hear that very often. This isn't me just being contrarian for the sake of it. I just look at it objectively and say, what are the odds that he truly is a franchise quarterback? What are the odds that if you swapped him out in Mac Jones, that Brock Purdy is still greatly exceeding expectations with half the talent there in Foxborough? I'm not convinced he's that guy at all.
I think we had posed that question here in this station many times when it seemed from the get-go that he was QB1, coming off an injury, even adding a guy like Sam Darnold, who's been around a little bit, and with drafting Trey Lance and putting all the draft assets up to get him, that it was so clear to the front office and to Kyle Shanahan. My best guess on that, to counter it, Brian, would be this. Not only the 8 games we all saw, but he just must have processed things better, practiced better, executed better. But it's funny that you say that about the weapons he had, because I literally thought of it in the first play of the game on Saturday. The way they designed it was a simple play action, roll left, releases Deebo, dump short, and Deebo goes for, 22 yards, something like that. And I thought, well, why didn't you run that play game 1 for Trey Lance, just to get something so simple, so basic to get him going? Either he called it audible or ran it better, but I felt like they did a lot more to set up Brock Purdy much better this last weekend.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know, man. We'll get to that. Just the differences between those two guys, the situations that they're in right now. But I think Brock Purdy is a bit of an example of how quickly things can change in the NFL. Wasn't that long ago, Niners traded a boatload to get him with the 3rd overall pick. And now we're 2 years removed, and Kyle Shanahan is saying Brock Purdy would have to melt in practice to not be QB1. It can change real fast. And I know Purdy is off to a good start, but when you are surrounded by the supporting cast that he's surrounded by, he hasn't been asked to do a whole lot. That's what's interesting to me is if you go back to the Jimmy G days, like the Niners won a lot of games. They had a lot of success. And then when it really came down to it, against Mahomes, against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, you got to make a throw. You got to make a play. Sanders is wide open, and he couldn't do it. And they lost the game. And a big part of that was on that play. That's what I wonder about Brock Purdy. I don't know why we're acting as if he has checked that box when he has 5 regular season games, including Tampa, the Commanders, the Raiders, the Cardinals, right? They beat Seattle in the playoffs. They survived against the Cowboys. They didn't score many points at all. Thankfully, Dak threw a couple of picks, and he got hurt right away against the Eagles. Like, you're basing all that on this is a franchise guy. I'm not saying you specifically, Jason. I'm just saying the conversation in general often goes that way, as if he's bona fide.
Yeah.
He is that guy. I'm not convinced at all.
And here's a question I have for you, Brian. Do you think, let's flip this team to not what were they last year after that slow start, won their last 10 or 11 games, one of the better teams, get to the NFC Championship, and now one of the favorites this year. But if they were kind of coming in as a team off of a, 4-13 year, I think they have more patience and more kind of more willingness to go to Trey Lance and think on that, what that potential is. But this team wasn't 4-13, and this team isn't, a player away or so. Like, they think they can win the Super Bowl probably with any three of the quarterbacks. But obviously, Kyle Shanahan thinks there's something different with Brock Purdy compared to the other two guys.
Yeah, well, and that's where I keep coming back to. I hear you on that, but I think we're living too much in a San Francisco depth chart world, where, Brock Purdy is the best option right here, right now, compared to Sam Darnold and Trey Lance. Okay, great. What does that really mean in the grand scheme of things when you're trying to win a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
If the Niners survive against the Eagles, Mahomes is the other quarterback.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's a different tax bracket.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to be better than Trey Lance, who's been disappointing thus far. But when you're talking about trying to win it all, you could be going up against Joe Burrow, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts again, right? So there's a lot of competition. So I wouldn't be looking just at Lance and Darnold. I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying the conversation alludes to just looking at it that way.
Yeah, and I wonder if this is a parallel at all to the first kind of run through at Jimmy G. I mean, Jimmy G won games. There were some games he had better stats, but I mean, he's never been the world beater stat guy where you just clear cut, that's the franchise quarterback. I think he had leadership qualities, and there was a lot of things that they liked. But like you said earlier perfectly, there was usually a big throw a game that he had to make, and more times than not, he didn't. So he was the best option. He's kind of what they had with a team that was good around him. It feels like there's some comps here with Purdy having now the opportunity to maybe change that narrative and impress people more over time, because I still think that sample size is pretty small.
I think I'm getting old too. As part of it, Jason, is I don't know, man. I'm not quite yelling at clouds yet.
There's time.
But I don't like when a lot of people make something that's okay out to be awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Think of a mediocre movie. What would you say is a mediocre movie? Or a band, artist, anything that's just mediocre.
Yeah. I mean, I know what you mean. I know the point. I don't have the yeah. And you think that's what's happening here? Could be a team. If you said the Lions, okay, hey, the Lions made some strides last year. Yeah.
Winning record, not bad. Fine. If you're like, this team is unbelievable, it's like, whoa.
Too far.
That's too far. When Brock Purdy threw a slant pass to Ayuk, who's wide open, no one near 5 yards of him, if you shrug your shoulders and say, that's nice, he's looking good, first action, not bad. He's doing what he's supposed to do. Fine. If you're like, oh, he looks sharp, he looks in total control, it's why are we overselling it right now?
I mean, it could go down to this question too, and I wouldn't know. It's more of a philosophy thing, because I know generally where I would lean. I would rather have Mahomes, Allen, I mean, a ton of quarterbacks, whatever your top five is, and maybe some suspect areas of my team that maybe the quarterback can overcome that, then maybe have the Niners situation. I'm just naturally, I love the fact that I feel like Rodgers, Allen, Mahomes can always win a game. Where the Niners are so complete, I don't know that they need that dominant quarterback. Now, if they did, they'd be unreal. But I think this is kind of the options they have.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, coming up next, the comparison between QBs is just staggering. One is just driving a Lamborghini. The other is driving like a Buick Skylark with a bad muffler. It's insane. That's next on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
The first ever NBA in-season tournament schedule is out, and our Kings have some great matchups, including national TV games against the Spurs and Warriors.
And Sacramento has won. They have risen to the occasion. And let me tell you, if you can't sense it, this place is absolutely nuts.
Listen to every game on the home of the Kings, Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. Much like you probably, my kids are going back to school next week. What does that mean? It means end of summer blowout on all systems with American Energy Heating and Air right now. $2,500 off full systems, with systems as low as $34 a week. And American Energy Heat and Air offering a free Wi-Fi thermostat on high-efficiency units. As always, they're making the uncomfortable comfortable, but get in right now. This limited offer expires August 30th. You can call today to schedule your appointment at 916-520-9990. Better Business Bureau A+ rating. 1981 is when they started serving the greater Sacramento area. They are Sacramento's complete heating and cooling company and second opinion partner with heating, cooling, service, tune-ups, installations, and more. American Energy Heating and Air, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
It's the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa. Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 8 a.m. on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. Golf to Go. Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 8 a.m. on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Elk Grove Honda.
I'm Eileen Javor in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. Expect a mixture of clouds and sun the rest of today. That muggy feel with temperatures in the mid-80s. An isolated shower or thunderstorm can't be ruled out. Clearing into tonight, more sun tomorrow. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
At Elk Grove Honda, we see every Honda buyer as a member of the family, so we make sure every certified pre-owned Honda is one we would buy from ourselves. See our selection of certified pre-owned Hondas in the Elk Grove Auto Mall or online at elkgrovehonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Welcome back to Sactown Sports. I'm Brian Noe. He's Jason Ross. Listen, before we get into comparing quality of cars here, football-wise, where do you stand on old 50 Cent over there, Jason? You a fan?
Yeah, I'm in the club. I'm a fan of 50. You? No?
No, I'm a fan, yeah.
You know, he's
trying.
He's kind of the newest Kings fan. This last year, he's been around Sacramento Kings games, has some of his is it wine, champagne, something like that?
It's something like, but he was doing that
Cognac.
For the Pacers too. Yeah. He was doing that.
Another team?
Yeah.
Oh, I felt special.
So I don't know if he's just doing the tour.
Okay.
You know, and
well,
you know, it's fake love. If you buy my stuff, I love you.
Sure.
No, it's conditional love.
That's where it works for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your genres of music that you get down with? What's
you know what?
Go-to?
I feel like I'm all over I literally would not label it as one thing. I mean, every which way. I won't say I know all of the music, but I'm a fan of just kind of everything. I grew up 70s and 80s, so like that. But I mean, it can have hip hop to, some country to metal, soft rock. I'm really all over the place.
Now listen. I'm a metal guy. That's my go-to.
Metal. Like, define metal for you. Because there's different genres of that. Like, where are you in that group?
I would be more in the now. Jay told me the mic was a little hot.
It was. So you had some metal. It felt metal-esque.
There's definitely old school Metallica, Pantera, Slayer.
Wow.
I'm feeling like that was pretty hot right there. I tried to stand back.
Okay, that was good. No, we got you. But you have to do that when you say Slayer.
Yeah, you have to. You got to belt it out right there. But yeah, a lot of people say, I love all kinds. I'm like, do you?
I do.
You love death metal over there?
Less than others. That would not be the first choice. But I remember we're obviously this sports station. We've been around music stations for years. I'm gonna take you way back, Brian. One of our music directors was just doing country at that time, and he asked me, I think in the hallway, what do you listen to? I said, they need to come up sometime with a station that plays everything. And this was even before like iPods, because I said, I listen to everything. And then he goes, that would never work. And now all of a sudden there's stations all over the place that play all kinds of music.
Do they really? You get eclectic stations like that?
Some of them, but I mean, there's others that are locked into their specific thing. But I find more people listen to what's on their phone, and they're all over the board. What song's kind of hitting them? Yeah.
I like your idea, iPod radio.
Exactly.
It's not a bad idea.
Slayer everywhere.
Yeah, Slayer and then Britney Spears or something.
Sure, that's an odd combo, but I'm there for it.
Yeah, just totally off the wall. Okay, so you alluded to this a little bit with Trey Lance.
Mm-hmm.
So he got some time in the second half against the Broncos. Didn't exactly paint a Picasso.
Yeah, it's
the whole time.
better-ish, better.
But listen, I think that supporting cast matters a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at the difference. If it's a car, like even without George Kittle and McCaffrey and Trent Williams, you still driving a high-end sports car.
Right.
That's the position that Brock Purdy is in. When you look at Trey Lance out there, good Lord. Jason, you got to take this into account, man, where Tay Martin is dropping a pass. The offensive line is shoddy at best. You know what I mean? There's an illegal formation penalty, right? Like, he's working with this. This is like a beat-up Oldsmobile with transmission issues or something like, you know what I mean? Like, if he throws a screen pass too flatly and it's picked off, okay, that's on him. But a lot of this stuff is on his supporting cast as well.
Yeah, and that makes you wonder, Brian, if the front office, Kyle Shanahan, the decision makers are comfortable enough going, yeah, we're fine with that. We know who he is. We know what he can be. And maybe, and all that being said, maybe he is QB3 legitimately. And that's kind of what happens in the preseason. It may not be fair. He's had opportunities in camp and in other games where he started, even though that hasn't happened that much due to injury. I think it does tell you a little bit, especially even back to that quote that Shanahan mentioned that you alluded to, that, Brock Purdy would have to melt for him to lose the job. So it feels like it's been more of a QB2 battle. I think Darnold's been better in what we've all been privy to see, but it just, you want it to work. I want it to work for Trey Lance, and it doesn't always, and maybe it has to work in another organization, but I don't know how you feel about him. When I watch him, Brian, I just feel like it's a guy that's thinking the position as opposed to just playing it. And you've got instincts, and I think he's heard every voice in his head, and he's just, okay, this read. No, he told me to look. I just feel like it's not natural to him right now.
There's a movie. I'm going to do a terrible job of explaining this based on what you just said right there, Jason. I can't remember the name of the movie. I want to say Owen Wilson is in it.
Oh, there's a chance I've seen it.
But there's a part in the movie where they're at this bar/club, and their friend says to them, they're like, oh, look at the good-looking blonde over there. And he's like, no. And he puts his hands up in front of his face and like shields the other girls away from his vision and says, now look at her. And she looks way worse. So the concept was she was surrounded by less attractive women, which made her look more attractive. It's the opposite in the NFL. Like, Trey Lance is surrounded by less attractive football players in terms of production, right? When he's out there with the 2s and 3s. And that makes him look worse. I agree with you. He looks like he's thinking a bit too much. He's not fluid. But when you're surrounded by this mishmash, motley crew supporting cast, it's going to make you look worse. And I think that's partly what's going on here. If I'm Trey Lance, I just look at this whole thing like, what the hell? What happened? He gets drafted 3rd overall. They trade a boatload to get the guy. We're 2 years removed from that. He started 4 games. He had 1 major injury. He's thrown 102 career passes. And now Mr. Irrelevant would have to melt
right
for him to be QB1. That's some Twilight Zone type stuff.
It is. And just to clean up things, thanks to Chris in the other room and to Born Alone on our YouTube chat, the movie is a 2011 classic, Hall Pass.
There it is.
Jason Sudeikis as well. I did see that
nice.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to feel weird for him because you can't run an organization based on how you drafted players because, I mean, just on look, you go number 3 with trading up to get him versus Mr. Irrelevant. We all know how it should go, or at least appear to go. But Trey Lance, to me, feels like he hasn't had as many opportunities as he probably should get. But I still have to go back to Brian to maybe what that looks like in the film room, to practice, to performances maybe we're not privy to seeing because it feels like they've made up their mind clearly on their order too at QB.
Yeah, man. Kyle Shanahan's emphatic.
Yes, he is.
I've never
and he
heard
better
it,
be
but...
right? I mean, in this case, if you have a Super Bowl caliber team, or if you don't make it, which that happens, but like if it's because of quarterback play, then you did it wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've never heard a quarterback say QB1 would have to melt.
Right. Yeah.
For QB2, who we drafted 2 years ago,
right,
and traded 3 first-rounders and a third-rounder to get him. Think about this, too. I went and looked it up. When the Niners traded for Trey Lance, so these picks, they change hands, and
sure,
the Dolphins move down and trade up and all this stuff. But one of the actual selections, the 12th overall pick from that draft, turned out to be Micah Parsons, the all-everything defensive player for the Dallas Cowboys. That was one of the guys. That was one of the picks involved when the Niners moved up to get Trey Lance.
Yeah.
And it's like QB1, Brock Purdy would have to melt to not be QB1 anymore. That's just that's wild. We are where we are right now.
That's a line for Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. Like, few quarterbacks should be in that company where they could do whatever in the preseason. It's their job. That should not be for Brock Purdy.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I just want the bar to be a little bit higher. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
I know he's Mr. Irrelevant. I know he was the last pick of the draft. Fine. But to be gushing about wide open screen passes, it's like he hasn't accelerated to the next level yet. that shouldn't be enough to ooh and ah you.
Yeah.
That's like going to the fireworks show and seeing sparklers and being like, oh, wow. Did you see that? It's like, I did. Why are you making a big deal out of that?
Just
that's my question.
Yeah. Now I'm going to watch Hall Pass tonight and give a movie review later.
Have you seen it before?
I have. I just need to see it again. I remember enjoying it, but there's a couple of memorable scenes in that movie for sure.
It was the Australian girl in that movie.
Yes.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I'll just leave it at that.
I was just thinking about there's bathroom scene at a hotel that did not go very well. Yeah.
All right. Coming up, there was something that happened in week 2 of the preseason that I think is an overreaction, but there's an interesting take about what this could lead to in the future. We'll share that with you next on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
If you want to hit the golf ball farther and straighter, the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio offers you the opportunity to experience the same technology and major brands used to fit PGA and LPGA Tour professionals. The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is an indoor facility that opens onto the driving range so you can see your all-important ball flight. With the advantages of cutting-edge technology and analyzing your ball flight, the Hagen Oaks professional staff will make you a better player. Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio, Fulton Avenue at Cap City Freeway, or call 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531 for longer, straighter drives.
Get ready for a night with Cole Swindell. The 2023 ACM Song of the Year winner hits Heart Health Park at Cal Expo in Sacramento, Saturday, September 9th for the CITP2 Fest. And Cole's bringing some friends like Chris Chanson, Dylan Scott, Matt Stell, and more. Tickets start at $40 at CITPFest.com.
Don't wait, the giant summer sale ends soon at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. We make buying a new Honda easy and stress-free. Pre-order online or in person today. We'll be there to help you every step of the way. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
Happy Monday. I'm Simone with your Sactown Sports headlines. San Francisco 49ers able to lasso the Denver Broncos with the come-from-behind win with the final score of 21-20. The victory notches their first win of the preseason, in part thanks to Jake Moody's late walk-off kick.
Snap, set, kick, high enough, long enough, and the Niners win!
The quarterback carousel continued to turn as Brock Purdy got the party started and went 4 for 5, throwing 65 hot ones. But the saga of Trey Lance continues to intrigue as the third-year gunslinger followed Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold to finish the day 12 of 18 with 173 passing yards, 1 passing TD, and 1 pick. And finally, Oakland Athletics hosts the Kansas City Royals at 6:40, and you, of course, can listen along right here on Sactown Sports. I'm Simone. Those are your headlines. Now back to more Sactown Sports.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sactown Sports.
Welcome back to Sactown Sports. I'm Brian Noe. He's Jason Ross. So it's a scary scene. It was the Patriots at the Packers in week 2 of the preseason, Jason. And Isaiah Bolden, he got carted off the field. It was a head injury. He collided with his own teammate. And with a little more than 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, they just called the game. Mm-hmm. Both head coaches said, you know what? We're good. We don't need to keep playing. Let's just call it right now. Hey, if that's what they chose to do and they treated it like a joint practice, fine. There wasn't much pushback with it being week 2 of the preseason. You had multiple players come out and say, hey, they're showing that they care about us. All is good. Matthew Slater was one of those guys saying that. So I think we're all on the same page. If it's week 2 of the preseason, okay, fine. We get it, right?
Yeah, they got most of their work in. 10 minutes to go. I think both sides were in lockstep. The best news is Bolden went home with the team and on the team bus. So everything is good with him, but that's always a scary scene. But I think that was, and we came off of last year's very unique situation with Damar Hamlin, but this felt like the right thing to do in week 2 in August of the preseason.
Absolutely. So if you spin this forward, I saw an interesting article here. It's from Steve Buckley of The Athletic. And he says that calling the game was clearly the right decision. Okay, he takes it a step further. He writes this, Jason. He says, when things happen again, and it will, the NFL should continue to stop the games and tell everyone to go home. In the 21st century, it should be unfathomable that the players, after witnessing an injury of this magnitude, be asked to simply put their helmets on and return to the huddle. It should be unfathomable that we would want to watch. Okay, now here's the thing, man.
Yeah.
Now, this is the tough part, Jason, where you sound like you might be insensitive when you're really not. It's first things first. I hope every player is healthy. I hope every player is good to go. I understand there are going to be some scary situations, but not everything rises to the level of Damar Hamlin, who had to be revived after suffering cardiac arrest. Okay? Head injuries happen in football. And although they might be very, very scary, that doesn't mean that we're just ending each game where a head injury occurs. Think about last year with Tua Tagovailoa.
Mm-hmm.
Tua gets slammed down against the Bengals, and that was scary, right? Remember, his fingers were tensed up and kind of like curled up and all that. He gets carted off. Scary situation. They continued playing that game. That's the way it's going to go. And unless it rises to a Damar Hamlin situation like that level of importance, I think that's crazy to say you're gonna stop every game when there's a serious injury on the field. It doesn't make sense. It's a brutal sport. Injuries occur, man. It sounds completely cold-hearted, but typically it's move the drill 5 yards down the field.
Yes.
And I think more times than not, that's the way it's going to be in games also.
It's amazing for anybody that's covered or been to fans have been to a practice and seen something like that where maybe not as descriptive as a head injury, but even just an injury. And you can see everybody gather around the player and they literally will move the line of scrimmage and just go next play. You're going, that guy might have shredded on a good note, might have shredded his knee. And I'm not talking about anything, with the spine or the head, but they just move on. I mean, and it's not meant to be callous. It's not meant to be insensitive, but that's kind of sadly the way the sport goes, Brian. And I did think about this after it happened. And the Damar Hamlin was a unique situation, and it felt right when they did what they did. But let's fast forward that. What if that was the Super Bowl?
Right.
I mean, I don't know the right answer. I'm glad I'm not in charge of any of these things. But the money makes the world go round. I don't know what they would have done if that was the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question because we'll never know. Hopefully, we'll never know
exactly.
that the same thing happens in a game like that. But I tell you this much: if a player doesn't need CPR and they don't need to be revived on the field, and they're going to continue that game.
Yeah.
Okay. Like it's life in the NFL. It's life when it comes to football. And I understand it's hard. It is really hard to refocus when you might have seen a teammate get hit a certain way, or it's just scary. I get all of that, but they're not going to just say, okay, well, the Niners, instead of a 13-4 season, they're actually, I don't know, they're 9-2 because a bunch of games there's a scary injury and we couldn't finish them. Come on, man. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, and then you're almost like defining injuries. Well, that one, the player was knocked out. Well, this guy broke his leg and is pointing the wrong way. That one's okay to like. It just, you can't parcel it out that way. I think there's just a certain thing. Look, we all watched the Damar Hamlin thing when it happened. We've seen people get hurt, and then you could tell pretty quickly, like, wow, this feels different. Something is different about this. And I think if you kind of get into that feeling and that mode, then maybe you start having the discussions. This made sense, preseason, totally get it. But I think the author of that piece from The Athletic is, I just, maybe, I don't know, not even in a perfect world. That's not the way the sport works. That's not what you do for MMA, for boxing, for racing, sadly, the show goes on, and that's not meant to be by any means insensitive.
That's right. Yeah. And it's tough, right? It's tough to check both boxes.
Right.
Because it sounds like you're saying, he'll be fine. And if not, we still got a game to play.
Yeah, we care about you, but we really don't. But no, they do. It's just, you're right.
Yeah, they care about it. But put it this way. What sense would it make if this is, I don't know, week 10 of the regular season? Again, Bolden, this is why we can talk about it this way. He got released from the hospital the next day. Sunday morning, he's good to go. He's checked out. He's fine. He's got movement in all extremities, all of that. How many games are we canceling when overwhelmingly the players are fine?
Yeah.
It's just, listen, I don't know that we have to have this in-depth discussion because it's really not going to come down to that. But it did show you we are living in a post-Damar Hamlin world where there is some extra, sensitivity. There's probably a better word than that. There's some extra, I don't know. I don't know what the better word would be. Is just to say, hey, instead of move the drill, we got a game to play here. You're going to consider a little bit more than that without taking it too far is probably the best thing to say.
And it was just a few weeks ago when Bill's practice started, and there's the first time Damar Hamlin back, and he's in his first preseason game. These things are highlighted and featured because it's a great recovery, bounce back, feel good story. We left that telecast that Monday night. It was a Monday night game, not knowing if he was going to survive.
Right.
Which was just awful to see. And then it's like, okay, it sounds like he's going to be okay or getting better. Oh, wow. I didn't really think about playing football again, but here he is maybe. And then now he's back. So you like those parts, the finished parts of those stories, but that night was horrific.
And that's the thing too, where sometimes it can look different than what it is.
True.
The NFL can be completely worried and empathetic with a player being injured and not knowing what his status is going to be going forward. Now, let's just say something really bad happens. Let's say there's an injury. It's scary. The game continues on, and then things go really south with that player afterward. It might look to some like the NFL doesn't care about that player whatsoever, but you might not know exactly how it's going to end up. And without knowing that information, you can't act as if the NFL did know it. Or it was like, hey, this player, it's a really bad situation. And the NFL was like, well, if we had known that, then we might have acted accordingly, but we didn't know that at the time. It's turning into a lot dicier of a situation going forward when you start thinking about it.
Sure. Yeah. And this, again, I think you get these reminders. We all know how physical and violent the sport is, and not that we want or need the reminders, but sometimes these incidents happened and, they're bigger, stronger, faster. They hit so hard. And the weird thing is I hadn't seen the play when it happened, heard about it, then went back and saw the play. And I had to rewatch it a couple of times because I was anticipating it being this massive hit. And it was kind of just by the TV angle. Bolden was hit by his own teammate kind of on the side. It was just a weird, and that's the way a lot of these things go. It's just a hit you didn't kind of predict. And I'm glad, though, that he's okay at this moment.
I'll tell you what, man, you mentioned Damar Hamlin. And being back with the Bills and hitting again. And he was in the first preseason game last week against the Colts. And, I take my hat off to the mental toughness of that guy.
Right.
When you think about any injury you're coming back from, think about physical injuries. If you have knee surgery, you have to trust your body again. Can I start and stop? Can I cut on a dime, right? Like, there's this whole mental hurdle of I need to be able to trust my knee as if it's as good as it was before surgery. That's not the easiest thing to do. And for Damar Hamlin, who could have died, right? For him to come back from that and not hesitate. He explained that. He's like, you're back on the field. If you hesitate, you're just going to set yourself up for injury. But to jump over that mental hurdle, I take my hat off to the guy. That is so difficult to do. And he went from 0 to 60. He's right back at it after that whole situation last year.
I don't even know how he did it, because I think that is the bigger obstacle. I think that mental hurdle that was between your ears of building your confidence, getting your health, being back, and then really being willing to play again and trusting your body, trusting your instincts. I don't know how they do it. Like, I remember, Brian, when Alex Smith first came back and you're hearing about the comeback, I thought, well, okay, maybe he's just going to get to a spot where he's going to get to the field, put the pads on, and then I'm done. No, he played again. I just couldn't believe I didn't want to see him get tackled. I was just afraid everything was going to fall apart. But more power to those guys that have the toughness and mental toughness really to come back.
Did you see that special on Alex Smith?
It was great, painful. It was riveting, honestly. But I couldn't have even imagined if someone described his leg. You literally had to see what it got to at one point. That was horrific.
And I forget how many surgeries. He might have been over 20 of them, something like that. But the injury, it was against J.J. Watt and the Texans, wasn't it?
I think so. And then just the infection. Oh, it was just brutal. And what it looked like. And then to come back and literally play the position again in the NFL amongst the world's greatest. That's beyond heroic.
Yeah, it was. I hope Damar has a great season, obviously. He's the overwhelming favorite to win Comeback Player of the Year.
Yep.
Would you take Damar Hamlin? Again, we're hoping he has a sensational season, but take this into account. He's like the fourth safety right now.
Mm-hmm.
He was on the field because a couple of the starting safeties were banged up for the Bills last year.
Yeah.
So he's not starting. Is he still a shoo-in? Would you go Damar, Comeback Player of the Year, or would you take the field in that one?
Oh, man. Probably still Damar, because that's such a great story. But you're right. I don't know how many stats he'll build up, but maybe just being back on the field's enough.
It might be.
Yeah.
It might. I would wait. If you're thinking about putting some money on Damar, I would wait a little bit. If he's not a starter, right? What if
odds increase?
Yeah, Tua or Lamar Jackson, they just get off to a hot start.
Yeah.
I think you could get Damar's odds at a better price if you're so inclined.
Probably.
My advice. All right. Coming up next, this guy is going ballistic. What will it mean when the regular season rolls around? That's on the way on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Will the 49ers regret letting Robbie Gould walk this offseason and drafting Jake Moody?
If you get in a field goal range, see the rookie Jake Moody replacing Robbie Gould at the kicker spot.
Or was it just preseason jitters for the rookie kicker?
Moody is high enough, long enough, and no good. Oh, he pulled it left.
Tune in to find out on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Yeah, 49ers all the way.
Let's go Niners! Yeah!
At Elk Grove Honda, we see every Honda buyer as a member of the family, so we make sure every certified pre-owned Honda is one we would buy from ourselves. At Elk Grove Honda, we include many benefits that a private seller just can't match. Our Honda-trained technicians only certify our Hondas if they pass a thorough 182-point inspection, and our certified pre-owned Hondas are under 5 years old. So you know you're getting the newest Hondas in prime condition. See our exceptional selection of certified pre-owned Hondas in the Elk Grove Auto Mall or online at elkgrovehonda.com.
I gotta get an Elk Grove Honda.
Attention taxpayers, ready for some bad news? With $80 billion in new funding from Congress, the IRS has launched their most aggressive hiring campaign ever to ramp up enforcement. If you're ignoring your taxes, don't delay another minute because your paycheck, your bank account, even your home or business could already be at risk. Now, here's the good news. Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm, can get to work immediately, helping to protect you from the IRS. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, their tax attorneys and licensed professionals are experts at resolving tax problems. Let them help determine if you qualify for the Fresh Start Initiative or other powerful IRS tax assistance programs. Take control. Call Optima Tax Relief now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Everyone knows that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Kenny and Jerry here from Bell Brothers, and that's especially true when it comes to your air conditioning system.
A precision tune-up and professional cleaning costs a little bit upfront, just $87, but will prevent much bigger, more expensive, and inconvenient problems later.
We actually replace systems all the time from people who don't get annual tune-ups. They either forget or they just don't realize it's important. So instead of their systems lasting 12 or more years like they should, they need to be replaced in just 6 or 7 years.
Don't risk it. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Call Bell Brothers for an $87 air conditioner precision tune-up today and keep your system clean, energy efficient, and in good working shape.
Our number is 916-444-1234 or find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com. That's 916-444-1234 or online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
Shop Folsom Lake Kia for all your favorite models at low prices and payments, plus low finance rates and zero down deals with approved credit. Go see my friends at Folsom Lake Kia right here in Sacramento for over 20 years.
2 years ago, Americans watched in horror as a crisis unfolded at the Kabul airport.
There's desperation and anguish.
More than 80,000 Afghans have since arrived in America, but this story is still unfolding. I'm Andrea Smartin. In my new podcast, Stranger Becomes Neighbor, we'll find out what happens to these new arrivals in our communities. Who would help our newest neighbors? Follow us at kslpodcast.com, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you listen.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sactown Sports.
Welcome back to Sactown Sports. I'm Brian Noe. He's Jason Ross. So Anthony Edwards going nuts for Team USA. 34 points yesterday against Germany. As Team US, they come back. They're down by as many as 16 points in the second half to Germany. They go on an 18-0 run in the fourth quarter, and they end up winning by 8 points. U.S. is undefeated in exhibition games. They're gearing up for the FIBA World Cup. And look, man, Anthony Edwards is getting his props all over the place. LeBron, one of my favorite tweets was the Sixers' Tyrese Maxey that just wrote, Anthony Edwards is good at basketball.
Plain and simple. Easy to understand if you haven't seen any game. Yeah, and he's right. And it's not a surprise to me, Brian. I think early on, I remember the first time through here at when he came through with playing the Kings a couple times. I remember maybe the first time. So he's the number one pick. There's lots of expectations. So that, boy, he sure shoots a lot of threes. He was just comfortable outside shooting and maybe some ill-advised shots. But as he's matured, I mean, year 3 this last year, he's an all-star. He's the team's best player. They don't need to worry about going through Towns or Gobert. It's his team. He needs to be the show. He's become a two-way player. He's a gifted offensive player. The stats keep getting better. But, Brian, the best part about his game is just becoming more well-rounded. And he's that dude now. I mean, he's going to be a problem for the league.
He is. And that's the crazy thing to me is he's a problem, but the Timberwolves are not.
Exactly.
Right? Like, you could have a player that talented, who, by the way, has gone off. In his 5 playoff games, he's averaged just under 32 points per night. Like, so it's not like he's just some regular season warrior and then his play slips in the postseason. Like, he's giving you 31.6 points per game in his playoff performances. So he's a legit guy. And the Timberwolves, they were barely a playoff team. Like, that's a play-in team who got bounced in the gentleman's suite, you know?
Yeah, and I didn't love their decision in the last offseason. A lot of people thought, it was the only thing I gave him props for is, okay, going with Gobert and Towns is different. I mean, there are not a lot of other teams that are trying that, so they're different. I'll give them that. But unfortunately for them, Towns missed most of the year. Gobert, I didn't know what they were trying to do for Towns and make him a perimeter guy, which he's capable of shooting threes. But I think everything should have been revolving around Edwards, build around the future for him, make sure he's happy, because the last thing you want to do is build him up, watch him mature and grow with your organization, ultimately to have him walk and play for someone else.
I mean, listen, I get going a different direction, going against the grain and saying, all right, we're going to go Twin Towers here.
But they did it wrong.
Yeah, we're going to go late 90s Spurs on you.
Right. But you didn't have Duncan and Robinson.
That's number one.
Yeah.
They traded a boatload.
Too many.
For Rudy Gobert also.
Yeah, and now everybody wants that kind of trade back. Well, we saw what you got for Gobert. Yeah, that was just a bad trade.
Right, that's right. Yeah. Portland is like, how much are we getting for Dame right now? We want the Gobert sweepstakes here. But there's that, and then it really would be like an NFL team saying, we're just going to pound the rock. We're going to go army on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's probably not going to work in today's NFL, and that's where we are in the NBA. I just don't see how going. Granted, it's not old school like Patrick Ewing or something like with Karl Anthony Towns. We get that he can, shoot it from outside. We get all that stuff. Rudy Gobert, not so much, but definitely with Cat. So it's not the same thing, but it's still, that's fit for a previous era. I don't think it's fit for this era. Do you think that it could work today?
I don't think so. I asked this question before in all our King stuff, pre-games and post-game shows. Like, Brian, what do you think? If Shaq came around today, the version that we all knew, Shaq, prime Shaq, he's not shooting threes, is he?
No.
Good.
No.
I hope not. I mean, and I don't know that he's Jokic either. Like, Shaq could pass a little bit. Now, if we're referencing him to Jokic, it's not even the same in that department. But in his time, he controlled the paint, controlled the glass, dominated, was a bully down there because he should. No one could stop him. But I'd like to think he would do that. But I mean, I think Embiid can do some of that. I think Jokic could do some of that. But they also have all these other skills that if you find them outside the arc or going through the high post, they have that ability. I just would hope if there is the next type of true low post guy that they just feature in the low post and make it work.
Man, it's interesting if you expand that, though, Jason. The old school bigs that would be shooting from distance.
I know.
Because if you think in today's NBA, Brook Lopez is a guy, he never shot threes.
Right.
And he shoots a lot now.
A ton. Yeah, he made an all-star game as a true low post. And then now he's Splash Mountain out there. I mean, he's shooting threes for years for Milwaukee.
I could absolutely see Hakeem shooting
100%. I think Robinson too.
I could see him. I could maybe even Duncan.
Yeah.
He might be banking in threes from the corner. I don't know, but
play the angle.
That's right.
I mean, Ewing had the free throw line. Maybe he could stretch that out.
I was thinking Ewing had some touch.
Yeah.
I could see him jacking up threes in today's NBA.
Can Kareem skyhook from three?
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be
just extend it out.
That's why I did an old school double dribble from Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
You get in the corners right there. Deadly.
Money. Yeah.
Money every time. You
Exactly.
got to line it up. Line it up just right there. Hey, how about this? We got preseason NFL tonight. I love this headline. So the Ravens are taking on the Washington Commanders. And the Ravens have won 24 straight preseason games in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Cosmi, he's an offensive lineman for the Commanders. His quote is it's just awesome. I think it's a stupid record. I mean, who gives a bleep about preseason games? It's what he had to say.
Find the lie.
I hear him.
Yeah.
I hear him on that.
But it is impressive, right? I mean, what the Ravens have done, I guess. I mean, they'd rather it be regular season wins, and it's a good organization. But yeah, stir it up a little bit there.
Yeah, they're definitely stirring it up. One of my favorite pieces of audio is John Harbaugh, the Ravens head coach. This is a couple of years ago when they got to 20 straight wins. And he's like, I told the guys, man, you're going to be telling your kids about this streak. And I'm like, I don't know that they are, coach.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can you imagine sitting your son down like, hey, we did win 20 in a row.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What does preseason mean, Dad? Well, it's before the season begins. No one
so it doesn't
really
count?
cares. Like, most teams don't play their starters.
Yeah. We were just better at it than everyone else. I mean, I forget about it every year, Brian, and then they'll go, oh, the Ravens won again. I'm like, oh, wait, don't they have a streak? And they'll go, it's up to 23. And I'm like, I forget about it. But, I mean, I guess it's cool. I saw that stat, too, with Josh McDaniels of the Raiders. They're now second-year coach. He has as many wins in the preseason as he did in his first full year as the coach. There's a good and bad there. But, yeah, you want to get them when they count. At least Harbaugh has won quite a few games and has way more winning seasons for Baltimore than the other. But that's a weird stat.
I don't have a problem with it with the Ravens. I think it's fine. They're competitive.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, you probably run into this, Jason, where it's either a friend or someone you work with. The person who's a little bit more competitive about anything than you might be. It might be a little weird, but I still respect the competitiveness.
Yeah.
Even if it's the most random thing that you're competing in. If you want to win, I can respect that.
Yeah, I mean, it is competition. I respect that, and the people you're putting out there should want to compete. But in the end, it's one of those, like, to me, if you lose preseason, my feelings aren't hurt. If you win, I don't even know that I would be celebrating it too much, unless you're one of those that is betting on it, I guess. But other than that, just go for the competitiveness of the position battles.
I love it how Cosme, he ended this statement about saying who gives a bleep about preseason games. He says if we beat it, meaning the Ravens streak, he's like, if we beat it, great. We're going to beat it. So there we go.
Okay. Calling this shot, the very popular preseason bold prediction.
That's right. He caught himself where he's like, we beat it, great. If not, actually, I probably shouldn't say that. We're going to beat it.
Good.
We're going to beat it. How's
Good for
that?
him. It's on tonight. Now it's for real.
Absolutely it is. The people are betting on the Commanders. The line has moved a little bit, believe it or not.
Are you looking at preseason lines?
Absolutely, Jason. Sometimes,
is there money to be made there?
Oh, absolutely. There's money to be made.
It sounds like you're saying from experience.
Absolutely.
Good for you. More power to you.
That's the worst when you lose. You're like, why was I betting on a preseason game? But there are times you can cash in. There's no doubt.
And then when you get it right, you're like, I know. See, I know preseason football.
I noticed a trend there. I thought I picked up on something. All right, coming up next, the preseason observations that actually matter regarding the regular season. We'll throw some of those out at you. That's on the way on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
It's Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
By the way, Chris Watkins, great news for you.
What'd I do?
The Warriors are going to be on national TV 41 times.
That's so cool. That's awesome. You know who really deserves that? Yeah, a team that lost in the second round last year. Let's put them on TV more than anybody else. What's that matter?
Chris Paul, though. Chris Paul.
Right, yeah.
It's Whitey and Watkins from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sactown Sports.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Whether you're shopping for your favorite Honda online or in person, you'll see why Stockton Honda is the #1 Honda dealer in Northern California and why buying from Stockton Honda couldn't be smoother. Visit in person or online at StocktonHonda.com, where your favorite Honda is ready for you.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
#1 claim based on 2022 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's own one report.
Did you know the average person walks 100,000 miles in their lifetime? It's true. That's a whole lot of stress, strain, and pressure ultimately put on 2 feet. Hi, DC Doug Christie here for the Good Feet store. As a spokesperson for Good Feet, I run into all sorts of surprising foot-related facts. Like, despite relatively few Americans being born with foot issues, over time, 75% of all adults will experience painful foot or foot-related problems. By supporting all 4 arches of the foot, the Good Feet 3-step arch support system can help return your foot and whole body to its proper alignment. Come to the Good Feet store for a free, no obligation arch support fitting, then take them for a test walk. Experience the comfort, balance, and support of the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and now Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your new home for 49ers football in the 916.
Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
Happy Monday. I'm Simone with your Sactown Sports headlines. San Francisco 49ers able to lasso the Denver Broncos with the come-from-behind win with the final score of 21-20. The victory notches their first win of the preseason, in part thanks to Jake Moody's late walk-off kick.
Snap, set, kick, high enough, long enough, and the Niners win!
The quarterback carousel continued to turn as Brock Purdy got the party started and went 4 for 5, throwing 65 hot ones. But the saga of Trey Lance continues to intrigue as the third-year gunslinger followed Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold to finish the day 12 of 18 with 173 passing yards, 1 passing TD, and 1 pick. And finally, Oakland Athletics host the Kansas City Royals at 6:40, and you, of course, can listen along right here on Sactown Sports. I'm Simone. Those are your headlines, and now back to more Sactown Sports.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sactown Sports.
Welcome back to Sactown Sports. I'm Brian Noe. He's Jason Ross. This sounds like the karaoke version.
It's me. It's me on keyboards.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. How do I sound? Besides
now,
karaoke.
This sounds normal. This sounds like actually Come As You Are, but at the beginning, it sounded like the karaoke. You know how it's a little bit different?
A little different, yeah. I don't know if that's a copyright thing or something, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. Are you a karaoke singer there, Jason?
I've never done it. I feel like you have, and you've probably crushed it.
Well, you're half right. I have, and I did the opposite of crushing.
Oh, do you have an epic fail?
Oh, I'm so bad at singing. Anything.
Well, you got to share the story. What's the worst performance you've had?
Well, I think I was one and done.
Oh,
I think
really?
I've only done one song.
Well, the song selection's, I think, very important. And some of I've not been to karaoke, but everyone that tells me that either loves it and goes and performs, or you just have to be buy in and be all in. And even if you're not great, at least you're all in.
Yeah, I noticed that I can really only sing one note. It's
Okay.
pretty much it. Yeah.
So what song did you take on?
So I was out with this girl in New York, and she's like, "Let's sing this song." And so it's this duet.
Oh, a duet.
It was the Kid Rock and Sheryl Crow song.
Okay.
About I put your picture away.
Yeah.
Whatever that song. And I'm hearing myself on the speakers, and it's dawning on me that I'm only singing one note. I'm like, I put your picture away. I'm like, I have no range.
How was she? Was she outshining you, or was it not hard to do?
I don't know. That's all I can remember is hearing my one note and thinking, this is all I got.
Was that the last date?
Pretty much.
Close.
I don't think it was based on my singing.
Okay. There are other deal breakers.
There are other history ramifications.
Okay. Sure.
It went here,
Details.
there. Yeah. But let's just say my singing did not sweeten the pot.
Well, so I feel like that's making you gun shy. You may not, if you're ever at a karaoke bar again, or you're like, yeah, I'll observe.
I just know my limitations.
Well, that's smart. You got to know that. Yeah.
I'm not a singer.
Okay.
I could play guitar. I can do that.
That's good. That's
but
impressive.
anytime I have a guitar and they're like, "Oh, do you sing?" I'm like, "No."
Are you self-taught?
Not well. I mean, when I was like at the very beginning,
Okay.
yeah, that type of thing. But I took lessons. Fun fact about me, Jason. We should do getting to know.
Yeah, getting to know
know Noe and Ross.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, by the way, on that, I don't know if you remember this because you were talking earlier. The show started about what you thought was a mullet or frosted tips. Back on, I found it back on April 2nd, 2019. You wrote a very, very nice piece about me for Barrett's publication there.
Yeah. Barrett Sports Media.
Yeah.
We talked. We broke bread.
We did.
You probably had frosted tips at that moment in time.
I think I told you it was the theater, the mind of radio. I got this full head of hair, frosted tips with an unconventional mullet on the back end.
I'll tell you what, man. Social media is ruining the radio host image.
Yeah,
you know,
right?
When no one knew what you looked like,
exactly,
and they just think he probably looks like Fabio,
right?
You know, and you're like, yeah, go with that. That's exactly what I look.
And
like.
now we're all on YouTube, and everybody can see what we really look like.
Yeah. I know. That's the way it goes sometimes. Okay, so we got a lot to do. Preseason observations here, Jason. What have you looked at in these preseason games that don't really matter, but there are legitimate takeaways that you can apply to the regular season? Anything stand out to you?
I mean, I've watched obviously every snap of I'm really thinking about the Niners in like position battles, but I mean, as far as scheme and what they're running, I always wonder if coaches are holding things back. So I don't know that I have any strong observations that I feel are true carryovers. What do you have in mind here?
I look mostly at rookie quarterbacks.
Okay.
Now, this isn't, hey, based on the preseason, I think these guys are going to struggle. It's not that simplistic. But when you look at a guy like Bryce Young with the Carolina Panthers, he's taken some hits already.
Yeah.
His left tackle, Ekwonu, that was a 6th overall pick. And he's missing assignments. He's like, oh, I'm supposed to block that guy? My bad. You know, like that's not a good combination with Bryce Young. The question is he durable?
Mm-hmm.
Does he have the size? Does he have the frame to hold up? And they were supposed to have addressed their left tackle situation with the 6th overall pick. And I don't know that they have. But that's one that's pretty obvious to me is horrible combination if the Panthers can't protect an undersized Bryce Young. And then the other rookies, CJ Stroud with the Houston Texans. I'm so out on this guy.
Oh, out completely already.
Out.
Why?
Especially rookie season, because he's leaving a who's who of talent around him at Ohio State.
Yeah.
He's going to end up having, Jason, 5 first-round wide receivers that surrounded him the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's just receivers.
Yeah. I know he goes to the NFL and has less talent around him.
Yeah, so he went from that to the Texans.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm not saying they have nobody. They've got Laramie Tunsil. Hopefully John Mechie comes back from fighting lymphoma last year, and he's unbelievable. But they don't have 5 first-round wide receivers. I know that much. So I think this first year for C.J. Stroud, who, again, was all-world against Georgia, but the game before that was struggling at home against Michigan. And the talent disparity that he was used to in college is pretty much the exact opposite most Sundays with the Texans this year. I think he's going to have a lot of struggles. And I don't know what's happening with the Colts with Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
This guy threw under 400 passes in college.
They're just giving him the job.
They gave him the job in week 1, and they didn't play him over the weekend.
Right.
Why wouldn't you get him a series or 2 or a half? Or why wouldn't you get him out there? It's crazy to me what the Colts are doing.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I'm sure quarterbacks would probably their own personal experience would come up with different answers, like Troy Aikman and Peyton Manning, who go on to Hall of Fame careers, but just got brutalized in their first year with results, sacks, poor performances, win-loss record, but then blossomed into generational quarterbacks. But it doesn't always work that way. And so some other quarterbacks say, oh, it's probably better that I sat for a year, sat for 2 years. Organizations have zero patience for that anymore. And I think the only other comp we have in the league right now is maybe a guy like Jordan Love. We understand why he was sitting behind Aaron Rodgers, but we'll get a full case study of him as a full-time starter versus these rookies that are thrown into the mix. But, I mean, whether it's, Jameis Winston is on his second team, but thought to be great. Mariota, multiple teams. Goff, Wentz, all these guys that get drafted high because you got to be the next great thing. Baker Mayfield, and they bounce around already because teams lose their patience. And I don't know if part of that is because they started them too quickly or not.
Yeah, that's what's crazy too, is you have all of these examples. And I've been doing fill-in shows for an Indianapolis station throughout the offseason. And look, man, I get it. Like sometimes hope gets you further away from the truth. You're hopeful, if you're a Colts fan, that Anthony Richardson is going to be all world. That's the way it goes for any fan base with their guy. I get that. But you have so many examples. And when he is so inexperienced, I don't know why the optimism is just flowing like wine through the city. Look, they haven't had a quarterback since Andrew Luck, but that doesn't mean just because of that, Anthony Richardson is going to be the guy.
Yeah.
And also starting him week 1, right out of the gate. And today they gave Jonathan Taylor permission to seek a trade. So it's like, wait a minute. You've got Anthony Richardson, who threw 393 passes in college. He's inexperienced. And you're not going to pay Jonathan Taylor. Okay, I get that based on the running back market being where it is. But for Anthony Richardson's rookie season, man, you got to put him in a better position to have success.
Yeah.
And if Jonathan Taylor is back there, that helps him a lot with the RPO game, all that stuff. And they're just unwilling. They're like, yeah, go ahead, seek a trade. Like, let this inexperienced guy just lead us to the promised land. I don't know what they're doing.
I know fans, choose to fan the way they do, but I think maybe my best answer, and you would know better if you've done some work around there, why they feel that way. But I think immediately they go to, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck. Well, yeah, you had about a 16, well, maybe more than that, maybe 18-year run of just unprecedented quarterback play. That doesn't happen that often. They were very blessed, very fortunate, and they should know better because what's it been since? Brissett and Rivers and Matt Ryan and all over the map. So they probably have visions of that, and I would have visions of that, but you also have to know what the reality could be too if you're a Colts fan.
Yeah, and hey, man, I just question what some of these teams are doing to put their quarterbacks in the best possible position for success.
Mm-hmm.
I look at the Houston Texans. Hey, look, Will Anderson Jr. out of Alabama, he might be a really good player. But to trade what they did to get him 3rd overall, the Texans don't have their first-round pick next year.
Yeah, then that go to Arizona. I think they jumped the gun.
Yeah.
I think they're about a year or two early on that because, likely, what do you think, Brian? I don't know. Let's give them 5 wins, 5-12, which would be okay. Well, that's a pick you need to back up with one more high pick, and then maybe you're on your way. But if you're just giving that one away, I think they miscalculated that one.
Right. And look, I'm not saying, hey, forget about defense. Just surround CJ Stroud with everything. Hopefully you outscore teams 52-49. I'm not saying that. But to trade what they did to get Will Anderson Jr., knowing CJ Stroud comes from Ohio State with all of these weapons around him, weapons galore. And they're like, yeah, let's trade a boatload for the defensive guy.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? I don't understand that logic at all.
Yeah. If you're drafting a QB, got to protect him. Then you got to have weapons around him. Like you said, you can't ignore defense, but that's your investment. And every time you draft a QB, you're trying to prove that that's your QB of the next 10 years or so. The way the league works, that's so few and far between, but everyone's going to keep drafting QBs high until they find that guy.
Hey, coming up next, let's play the what if game. Okay. The what if game as far as the 2023 season is concerned. That's next on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Will Brandon Ayuk emerge as a star in the Bay this season?
Now going to throw for the end zone, wide open, Brandon Ayuk.
Can Fred Warner lead the Niners defense to another deep playoff run?
And Fred Warner with the INT.
Pick City, baby! Will Brock Purdy hold on to his starting quarterback job?
Purdy going to drop back to pass, try to run forward and go to the end zone standing.
Down and Purdy, baby! Tune into Niners at 9 every day on the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
On Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
From local town councils to Capitol Hill, agents who are realtors are standing up for what's right. We're here protecting property rights. Here advocating for the issues that affect our neighborhoods. Here championing fair and equitable housing for all. Because we are realtors, bound by a code of ethics, driven to serve our communities. We're here for it all. here for you. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Gold Country Casino Resort Norville is proud to present one of the most powerful voices in country music. Come on now, we're running out of moonlight. Randy Houser, live in concert on Saturday, September 23rd. Let me show you how. Country. Purchase your tickets now to see all of Randy Houser's greatest hits. Only at
Gold Country Casino Resort.
Must be 21 or older.
Sacramento's official home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Sactown Sports.
Welcome back at Sactown Sports. I'm Brian Noe. He's Jason Ross. Man, what if's coming up in just a second. There's something that I'm terrible at. It's not just singing here, Jason. You ever do these eliminator pools?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Man, I'm horrible at those. I don't think I've ever won an eliminator pool where you just, for the people that don't know, you in the NFL, you pick one team week one just to win outright. And you can't pick that team again the rest of the season.
Right.
So you got to strategize a little bit. There are bye weeks, can get a little bit hairy. I guess how many weeks I lasted in 2022 there, Jason.
So last year, well, week one, I think, is one of the most difficult weeks. So I think maybe you got bounced the first one.
You're right.
Yeah.
You are absolutely correct. I love that I've just wowed you with my NFL knowledge thus far.
No, I think that, honestly, I do think week one is one of the most difficult. I know I had that maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I lost a week one, and I know I can remember still picking the Colts over the Jags, and the Jags won. Okay, big deal. And that was Jacksonville's only win. They went.
Oh, wow.
They won week one and lost the rest.
So that was Urban Meyer's year, right?
I believe.
Is that right?
I guess so.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
So they won week one, and that was it.
Uh-huh.
Oh, my God.
Really happy
That's
about
crazy.
that. Yeah. Who did you lose? Do you remember who you lost with?
Oh, I remember. And it seems stupid now, but I'm like, Russell Wilson is not going back to Seattle and losing to his previous team.
Yeah.
It's not. Geno Smith is the other quarterback. And look how that turned out, man.
Yeah.
Not just that game, the whole season for those two teams.
Yeah. Surprise really both ways. But I felt, well, I don't know which one was more of a surprise. But, yeah, I got your logic. I mean, your logic made sense. It just the teams didn't cooperate.
Yeah. I'm blown away by what happened with Denver and Russ last year.
Yeah.
I still can't believe.
Think a bounce back year?
I think it's going to be better.
Okay.
I don't know that it's going to be vintage Russ again. Because, man, that offense, we just saw it against the Niners.
Right.
I don't know what it is where they just don't have it.
Yeah. and if Gary Payton, if Sean Payton can't make it work for him, then maybe, I mean, I never want to say a guy's washed, but maybe you're getting closer to that if he doesn't have it anymore. I know the last year or two in Seattle, it wasn't as good as it had been. But last year, boy, that was really rough for him.
It was rough. I didn't see that in a million years.
Yeah.
It being that bad. And they led the league. They gave up 63 sacks.
Oof.
That's a big part of it. It starts up front. But Russ was he never got close to being on track.
Yeah.
And listen, you got new teammates. You got Nathaniel Hackett was not exactly Vince Lombardi in the making,
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, Sean Payton is there, highly respected. And you think about the Drew Brees quick, precise passing game. Russell Wilson for a decade was fantastic in Seattle. I'm a huge Russell Wilson backer, at least that first decade of his career. I don't know about now. I'm starting to sell some of my shares. But I think that he's better than last. I cannot imagine him being as bad as he was last season.
I can't either. Again, if he is, I mean, there's just more resources, better. I do think better coaching, a few more skilled players around him. But yeah, that and in an AFC that's just loaded with great quarterback play, he can't be the bottom portion of that because he should be near the top of that group.
I think the what if game is really interesting to play for the upcoming season, where we're talking about what ifs within the realm of possibility.
Okay.
It's not like, hey, what if the Houston Texans win it all? Oh, like, come on, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But think about Russell Wilson. What if he has a resurgence? What if he's closer to maybe not peak Russ, but in the ballpark of peak Russ? That's going to have a ripple effect on that division, possibly the AFC playoff picture, because if Russell Wilson is that guy, you've got a talented defense. You've got playmakers all over the place. If Russ is back to being Russ, that's absolutely a playoff-worthy team in Denver.
For sure. They've traditionally had a very tough home field. So if you can establish that, if we take Sean Payton for his word on when he just blasted Nathaniel Hackett of how poorly coached they were, and maybe there is some truth in that. Maybe he went too far, but I mean, pre-snap penalties, just structure, being out of sorts. I mean, if you can clean some of those up, you try to even it out then with talent on the field. And I think they have talent. And if Russ can be more of the Pro Bowl Russ, why can't they be a team that wins 9 or 10 games?
They absolutely can be. But will they?
You're right. That's a
good what if,
yeah,
right?
It is.
I think about the NFC also.
Mm-hmm.
This is a huge one.
Okay.
What if Brock Purdy is fool's gold?
Oof.
That's absolutely possible.
Absolutely. It's a fair question. And how, I mean, in my mind, I don't even know if we need a definition of fool's gold. I think we could all just say he doesn't look like QB1, whatever that looks like. That might cost some jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing is Brock Purdy has allowed Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch to miss badly to this point on Trey Lance.
That's a good point.
Imagine if they swung from the heels, like Uribe style. Remember Uribe?
Yeah.
If he connected, it was going out of the stadium. If he didn't, it was just going to be a loud strike,
Yeah.
But that allowed the Niners swing wildly on Trey Lance, and they don't have any competent quarterback play of note. Oh, it's so much different for Shanahan and Lynch. But Brock Purdy went in there, and he was serviceable.
Mm-hmm.
He was fine last season, greatly exceeded expectations. But going forward, what if he's not a franchise QB? What if these defensive coordinators say, oh, okay, this is what you do? Think about Jared Goff in the Super Bowl with the Rams. And Bill Belichick is like, oh, okay, so you're really just doing play action passing and everything's based on the running game. Well, we're just going to add this other defensive lineman and just shut it down. And, well, you're screwed. You're going to score 3 points.
Right.
What if defensive coordinators figure things out with Brock Purdy and a limited quarterback looks more limited? That could have a seismic ripple effect on the NFC.
Yeah, because it's I mean, to me on paper, which is totally unfair, but it seems like Philadelphia, San Francisco, maybe Dallas seems to be the cream of the crop. Someone will always overperform, someone we're not quite seeing, but it's just not nearly the talent level to me on the surface that what the AFC has. So if you're clearly one of the favorites with or without great quarterback play, but if you don't get great quarterback play and that limits you from having the type of season that everyone expects, and all the other things where you bring in a Darnold as another safety net, where you already still hanging on to Trey Lance, you elect to move on from Jimmy G, who did win, and you go for Brock Purdy. There's a lot of things that could tweak that, because let's say, Brian, that what if Jimmy G has a stellar year for the Raiders? Yeah. How does that make that front office and decision-making crew of the Niners feel?
Well, there's that. I also think, man, if you're the Raiders, I know it's not the fashionable thing to pull the NBA tank in the NFL, but if they just so happen to stink out loud, that would be the best thing for them.
Yeah.
You're in a division with Mahomes.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to be in position to maybe get Caleb Williams, maybe get Drake May, maybe have a top-of-the-line franchise quarterback. That's what you need.
Yeah.
Like Jimmy G's not that guy.
No, he'll get him some wins, but I mean, it's not a difference maker.
Right. Think about what ifs in the NFC, all these young quarterbacks. Who's good? But like, what if Bryce Young is good right away? What if Desmond Ridder with the Falcons? He started 4 games last year. What if he's good? Jordan Love with the Packers.
Yeah.
What if he's good right away? And I just think about Sam Howell, throwing Brock Purdy in that mix, Justin Fields with the Bears. Like, who's good in that conference that we know for sure is good and we know for sure is bad. There are a lot of guys where the jury's just out on them.
Yeah, and then I think the quarterback position, in my experience, there's a small group of guys that you can basically count on every year, and that's why they stay up near that top 5, and we kind of know that group. But then I'll go to a guy like Jalen Hurts, who's busted into that scene where I was like, yeah, he's nice, and then has a great year last year. So is he got another year to back that up, and then he stays in that top tier, or does he just have some regression? Like Dak Prescott was up near that top group at one point, and then he's had a couple years here. We're like, he's okay. He's okay. So you want to be more than okay. You want to be a difference maker. You want to be a reason why your franchise is winning 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games, something like that.
Yeah, and hey, for the guys that are a bit more proven, Dak Prescott, like you just said, what if it's more of the same with Dak?
Yeah.
Think about the 2 interceptions against the Niners. What if he's a lot better than that?
Yeah.
I think about the Cowboys. They went 12-5, and Dak missed 5 games.
Right.
They had Cooper Rush for 5 games, and they still ended up 12-5. And Dak threw a bunch of picks. You know what I mean? That's a really talented roster. And just because it's the Cowboys and it's fun to just bang on them, you know what I mean? And they went down in flames the last 2 years against the Niners. I think there's a tendency to think that they're just going to be a pushover when it comes down to it. I don't know if that's going to be the truth this season.
Well, they're a fun team to punch around, right, with Jerry Jones and all that. But there's no reason to think why they couldn't flip their record with Philadelphia.
Sure.
Philly had. I mean, sometimes do you win the close games? Do you get a few breaks here? And turnovers are impossible to predict, but a funny bounce and you doink one off the goalpost that helps you or hurts you. It just there's not a large margin between some of these teams, especially all those near the top. And I could see the Cowboys flipping that around a little bit.
Man, and think about that too, Jason. It literally was one game that would have done just that.
Yeah.
Eagles won 13, Cowboys won 12. There was a road game in Philly. Cooper Rush was the guy.
Mm-hmm.
He played that game.
Yeah.
And it was a close game, but the Eagles won.
Right.
Literally, one game would have flipped those 2 teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you got a couple divisions too, the North and the South. I mean, I know Minnesota had a great record last year, but they're the team that won all those close games. They actually had a negative point differential, but good for them for winning whatever they got to 13, I think 12 or 13 wins. But that division seems to be open. I really think the NFC South is open. I think it's the Saints division, but like you said, if Ritter and Bijan Robinson there kind of become this tandem as a quarterback running back in Atlanta with some pieces they have, there's always someone that jumps up that you just quite don't see.
I'm so ready for the NFL season.
Me too.
That's the thing, too, is you just said it. The team that sort of comes out of nowhere, finished last season in 3rd or even last place. Think about Jacksonville.
Right.
2 seasons ago, they were 3-14.
Yeah.
Then last season, they're 9-8.
Yeah.
Which is not like all world, but they went from last to first.
Yep.
It's hard to see that right now. We might have to do it today, Jason.
I agree, because it's every year someone goes from last to first and try to find that team that can do it this year.
I'll tell you what, man, there is a gross exercise. We're going to have to do it tonight.
Okay.
We're going to have to, where we typically get 7 new playoff teams. So the exercise of find the 7 that won't get back there that were playoff teams last season and find the 7 new playoff teams. It's gross on both sides.
Yeah.
We'll start to tackle that next. Let's dive right on into that.
Okay.
It's coming up here on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
And there was one team in the NBA that had more road wins than the Sacramento Kings. That was the Milwaukee Bucks. They had 26. They were 26-15. The Celtics and Sixers were both tied with the Kings for second best road record. We don't say that enough. The Kings had the second best road record in the NBA, and they arguably have the biggest home court advantage in the NBA.
Right.
There's absolutely no reason why they can't go 31-10 at home.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on Sactown Sports.
Folsom Lake Ford has trucks. The F-150s are here. Explorers, Expeditions, and a huge selection of Broncos and Broncos Sports. They're in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters right here in Sacramento for your favorite Ford models at good, fair prices. Short on cash? Buy any new Ford with zero down. Save big with low interest finance rates. Plus, Folsom Lake Ford is paying top dollar for all trades. We want your vehicle regardless of mileage or condition. This could be the best time to buy a new Ford. Check out the huge inventory online at folsomlakeford.com or stop by the dealership and see the most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 30 years. FolsomLakeFord.com. 0
down with approved credit.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who miss the fairway all day and still pull out the big stick, the type of guys who will always prefer to be behind the grill than in front of the camera, and the men who never let their friends forget about a high school nickname. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
Get ready for a night with Cole Swindell. 2023 ACM Song of the Year winner hits Heart Health Park at Cal Expo in Sacramento. Saturday, September 9th for the CITP2 Fest. And Cole's bringing some friends like Chris Chanson, Dylan Scott, Matt Stell, and more. Tickets start at $40 at CITPFest.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
There are plenty of reasons to love golf in Northern California. With giant redwoods lining the fairways, the best Alistair McKenzie course you've never played is Northwood Golf Club's 9-holer along the Russian River. The 7th hole at Pebble Beach is a beauty or a beast. Play a sandwich or a 3-iron depending on the direction of the wind. Down the road a bit, Pacific Grove Golf Course sports a gazillion-dollar ocean view and a green fee about 1/10 of Pebble Beach. San Francisco's Presidio Golf Course survived the 1906 earthquake and was home course to President Teddy Roosevelt. You can tee it up on the ocean at the links of Bodega Harbor at dawn and tap in at sunset in the mountains at Old Greenwood in Truckee. Unlike Caddyshack's Carl Spackler, a good superintendent goes unnoticed working behind the scenes. Green thumbs up. There's a lot to love about golf, and as columnist Thomas Boswell wrote, when you fall in love with golf, you seldom fall easy. It's obsession at first sight. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
Happy Monday. I'm Simone with your Sactown Sports headlines. San Francisco 49ers able to lasso the Denver Broncos with the come-from-behind win with the final score of 21-20. The victory notches their first win of the preseason, in part thanks to Jake Moody's late walk-off kick.
Snap, set, kick, high enough, long enough, and the Niners win!
The quarterback carousel continued to turn as Brock Purdy got the party started and went 4 for 5, throwing 65 hot ones. But the saga of Trey Lance continues to intrigue as the third-year gunslinger followed Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold to finish the day 12 of 18 with 173 passing yards, 1 passing TD, and 1 pick. And finally, Oakland Athletics host the Kansas City Royals at 6:40, and you, of course, can listen along right here on Sactown Sports. I'm Simone. Those are your headlines, and now back to more Sactown Sports.
Your new home for 49ers football in the 916, Sactown Sports.
I'm Brian Noe. He's Jason Ross here on Sactown Sports. So I need to run something by you here,
okay,
Jason. So,
you gave me homework, by the way, during that break. It's like school. I'm late with my homework.
It's a gross exercise, isn't it? Oh,
I've done this
so
like we used to just like 4 in, 4 out, and it's like you went to 7. You're really
7.
You're stretching me, but I'll get there.
So the Phillies let me down last night. Those bums.
Wait, let you down? Are you speaking as a Philly fan, or is there a financial interest here?
It's a financial interest.
Okay, what'd they do?
Say my August 20th Phillies. Because you're a fan for a night.
Of course, you love them. What? Oh, they lost the Nats, didn't they?
Yeah, they forgot to show up on the Little League field against.
Oh,
the
that's
Nats.
right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Was that like the final game of a parlay, a single game on its own? Like, what are we talking about here?
It's pretty much on its own, and it did not work out at all, unfortunately. So, hey, we're trying to look for angles here tonight, and our guy Jay, he's saying Phillies tonight. He's going Philly.
Okay.
Against the Giants. Simone is going, she said Red Sox against the Astros. Astros have been cold lately.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you think? Do you sign off on these selections?
I do actually on both of those. I like those. I'm trying to see if I see one there at all. So they let you down. Well, your bad beat is someone else's good win,
Well, I don't care about them.
What if I told you I had everything on the Nationals, which I did not. But
well, if you did, that would make me feel a little bit better.
Okay, good.
Because I didn't have everything on Philly. If
everybody has a bad beat. I don't know if you have that story in the hopper.
Oh my gosh, Jason, I have so many. I could.
Do you have a problem, Brian?
No,
okay.
I don't. I don't think.
1-800.
Maybe I do. Actually, I have a terrible problem. I'll give you one of mine. You'll love this one as a basketball guy.
Okay.
So it's Warriors against the Grizzlies a couple of years ago. And I took in-game Warriors -5.5.
Okay.
They're up, I think, by 4 or 5. We're in rough shape.
Yeah.
Final seconds.
So nerve-wracking time.
Yeah, Warriors have the ball. I think the Grizzlies are just going to say the heck with it. We can't catch up. All of a sudden, there's a foul on Andrew Wiggins. They put Wiggy at the line. I'm like, we got a shot. He hits the first free throw. Now, I can't remember if that was enough to get over the number or if he needed the second one. That's the part that's a little bit fuzzy. However that worked out, the Grizzlies inbound the ball. They're literally like 3 seconds to go. They're down by 6, I think. And Dylan Brooks just dribbles a little bit beyond half court, launches one, banks it in at the buzzer.
As you're counting your money.
Yes, Grizzlies lose by 3, and that was enough to ruin that vested interest right there.
That's just obviously those things happen, but those are the kind of stories that just make me anxious. I feel for you.
So gross, man. I could give you one each segment from here on out.
That might be the ongoing bit. Brian's bad beats.
that might be. I've got a couple that would be like, "Are you serious?" That really have.
Doesn't it feel better to talk about? It's like cathartic. You're just getting it out.
Yeah, sometimes it does. Sometimes it makes me more miserable. But at least you got a story out of it. You know what I mean? Like,
make it a good one, right?
Yeah. Okay, so let's dive into this gross exercise.
Okay.
And I apologize for impromptu, like just throwing it at you in impromptu fashion. So we're seeing 7 new teams, like half the playoff field from one season doesn't get back there the next
Amazing.
season.
Pretty consistently.
Yeah. So if we're looking for 7 playoff teams from last season that will not make it again this season, where does your mind start to go on that, Jason?
I was looking at the standings and I went, whoop, my radar just took me right to the NFC and I said, jackpot, there's a bunch here. And I thought maybe I can get all 7, but no, I did. I was loaded for the NFC. I feel like I might have even missed one, but 4 of my 7 are from the NFC.
Okay, let's hear them. Who do you have?
So I am booting with no particular order. I thought, honestly, the Giants made it to 9-7-1, and I think Brian Daboll did a magical job. I don't think that team was as good as that, and standings and all that work to get them there. I think he was a terrific coach and showed what coaching can do, but I think he squeezed everything out of them. And I could see a break here or there, and, they just, barely got in. I'm removing them.
Okay.
I'm going to remove the Minnesota Vikings, who somehow got to 13-4 and even had the negative point differential. So I'm taking them out. I am taking out the winner of the NFC South, the under 500 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and kind of a feel-good story last year, the Seattle Seahawks. Those are the 4 I have removed.
Okay. All right. How about the 3 in the AFC?
So the AFC, a little bit more difficult. I have landed on kind of a trendy team this year. I would say the Miami Dolphins, taking them out. I don't love quarterback. I'm not blown away by Tua. I could be wrong on that one. Jacksonville, as much as they probably should win that division, but 9-8, someone has to, and I'm going to pick that it's not their turn this year. And I'm removing a team that invents more ways to lose than anybody, and they always seem to be super talented, but I'm taking the Chargers out.
Okay. I'm not that far off from you. The first thing I would say is there's going to be a team that on paper you just don't see it happen.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, how can this team miss the playoffs? I'd rewind to last season. So going into last season, we said, I don't know about the NFC, but what I do know is the Rams, the Packers, and Tampa are going to be really good.
Yep.
Because think about that. You had the Rams win the Super Bowl. You had Green Bay. They were a 1 seed who were upset by the Niners, obviously, right? Yeah. And then you had Tampa with Tom Brady.
Sure.
We're like, those 3 teams are going to be good.
Yeah.
All had losing records.
Yes.
The Rams were 5-12
somehow
as defending champions.
Yeah.
It's insane. So I keep that in mind. So I think you got to have a little bit of a shocker that you might not even truly believe will be the case. And somehow, some way, it will end up being the case. So with that being said, the AFC, I go a little shocker city here. Buffalo, out.
No.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Out. And
okay.
I don't love it. But it's a loaded division.
Yeah.
It's a loaded conference.
It is.
The Stephon Diggs drama.
Yeah, something's there.
It's 5 months removed. He's still ticked off about his targets in a playoff loss. You know?
Okay.
How's that going to play out if they lose 2 straight in the regular season? You know what I mean? Like, I don't love it. And then Josh Allen, he's reckless, man.
Yeah, okay.
Takes a lot of chances running the ball. I could see it. Cincy, out. Wow. Loaded division, man.
Yeah.
And Joe Burrow, he's got the calf injury. He's probably going to be good for week 1, but I could see it. Let's say Lamar is healthier than Burrow this season. It's possible. Let's say Deshaun Watson has a resurgence with the Browns. Kenny Pickett might take a step forward with the Steelers. I wouldn't be shocked if Cincy doesn't make it. Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Too much love for Jacksonville.
Okay.
Okay. They were 9-8 last season. They were 6 wins better than the previous year. But at the end of the season, that's a 50-50 ball game against the Titans and Joshua Dobbs. You know what I mean? Like, they might not have even made the playoffs.
Yeah, I think they have 2 winning seasons in like 12 years. So, yeah, it's been a rough organization.
Yeah. I'll go with them, and then I'll also take the Chargers for what you
said.
Incredibly talented, but seems to always
So you have
wrong.
4 AFC. Okay.
4 AFC. NFC, Giants. I agree with you there. Barely snuck in last season. Tampa, I see them definitely taking a step back with Baker Mayfield, Kyle Trask. And this is the shocker. Okay. This is me. Again, boosting my Q rating.
Hot take coming.
In Sactown.
Yeah.
The Niners.
No, get out of here.
Out.
Don't you want them to love you?
Guys, I would. I'd prefer it that way, but I'm a truth teller.
Okay.
You know, I'm going to tell you what I truly believe.
So if I had answered differently at the start of the show, you wouldn't have the Niners here.
Oh, no.
I'm teasing.
I still, I'm going to take the Niners out for these reasons. The jury's out on Brock Purdy. I think that he's more so fool's gold than this bona fide franchise quarterback.
Okay.
Granted, he exceeded expectations, but he is surrounded by a who's who supporting cast. And I can't help but think that he's not much more than a game manager.
Okay.
That's where I'm standing on him. So let's say a team with high expectations, which the Niners have.
Yep.
They get off to a bit of a shaky start. They were only 3-3 last season.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe even 3-4. Yeah, 3-4.
A team that gets off to a rough start sometimes starts pressing. Sometimes the losses begin to snowball. Happens every year in the NFL. I could see that being the case. And then what happened with the Rams last season? Injury bug galore. Let's say it happens with the Niners. It's happened before with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So even though you don't see it on paper, at the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Niners were on the outside looking in.
So we each have our 7 out. Okay.
7 out.
All right.
That's right. How about coming up 7 in?
Okay.
You ready for that?
Yeah.
It's a gross exercise, and I apologize.
I accepted your task. My homework is done.
I love that.
Yeah.
You just moved right in on that. It's beautiful. So we will get to the 7 in portion of this. Also a gift. Depending on your definition of gift, if you will, have that story for you as well. It is Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
The first ever NBA in-season tournament schedule is out, and our Kings have some great matchups, including national TV games against the Spurs and Warriors.
And Sacramento has won. They have risen to the occasion. And let me tell you, if you can't sense it, this place is absolutely nuts.
Listen to every game on the home of the Kings, Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave, and I recognize, just like my friends at American Energy Heat and Air, that your time is important. And that's why shopping for a new air conditioner is now easier with American Energy Heat and Air's online quoting tool. All you have to do is go to AmericanEnergyAir.com and get an instant quote right now. It'll help you determine what system you're going to need to get. It'll provide the best pricing options, all from the comfort of your home without having to have somebody come to your home. You know how annoying that is? They come in and everybody there is so sweet and nice, but how much better is it to be able to get it on demand? Visit AmericanEnergyAir.com. Check out how easy it can be. Or if you want to give them a call and talk through what your needs are, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay. Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's. Reese's. Reese's.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
If your Medi-Cal is ending, Cover California is here to help. Cover California is a service from the state that helps you get affordable health insurance. In many cases, at no cost to you, just like with Medi-Cal. We have quality health plans and will help you every step of the way to get the one that works for you and your family. So if you're no longer eligible for Medi-Cal, check out Cover California. We'll keep you covered. Learn more at coveredca.com.
Are you ready to cruise into the new school year in style? Look no further than Elk Grove Kia's Back to School sales event happening right now. Rev up your engines because the 2023 Kia Forte LXS is calling your name. Zoom through town in this sleek ride for just $149 a month plus tax. Unbeatable style and affordability in one package. But wait, it gets even better. Feel the adrenaline rush with the 2024 Kia K5 GT line, the hottest sedan this side of the Pacific. Get behind the wheel for only $299 a month plus tax. Experience power, performance, and sophistication like never before. Don't miss out on the best selection we've had in over 3 years. Check us out at Elk Grove Kia or elkgrovekia.com. 2023 Forte 24-month lease of $149 plus tax with $41.30 required at signing, residual of $15,256 at $10K per year, 20 cents per mile over, reserve security deposit required, subject to Kia finance approval. GK 8921 expires 8/31/23. 2024 K5 24-month lease of $299 plus tax with $47.12 required at signing, residual of $21,782 at $10K per year, 20 cents per mile over, reserve security deposit required, subject to Kia finance approval. GK 8932 expires 8/31/23.
Elk Grove Kia.
I suffered with plantar fasciitis for almost 20 years.
I thought that foot pain was going to be with me for the rest of my life.
If you suffer with plantar fasciitis, the search for pain relief can feel like an endless and hopeless ordeal.
I would try drugstore, insoles and supports.
I've been through surgeries, foot injections.
I was trying all different things. Not a single one worked.
If you think you've tried everything to relieve your foot pain, you probably haven't tried arch supports from the Good Feet store.
And then I was driving past the Good Feet store. And I thought, I mean, why not? Give it a try. They wanted to make sure that they gave me the right arch support for my feet. Then it was like, okay, this is different. These make a difference.
I don't have foot pain anymore. I'm so glad I met Good Feet. It changed my life.
See how Good Feet arch supports work for you before you buy with a free fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
The Good Feet store. Come in now for a free arch support fitting and test walk.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sactown Sports.
Welcome back to Sactown Sports. I'm Brian Noe. He's Jason Ross. Okay, so I don't know the year. Another bad beat here, Jason.
Oh, good. I'm liking this.
So I had the I didn't plan it this way, but I had the second half over with Jay Johnson's Texas Longhorns against the Cal Bears.
Took 'em.
And it was dead. So maybe this doesn't make it a bad beat as much as a sick beat. So it's like 3rd and 10. We got to score on this drive or it's over. It was 3rd or 4th and 10. I can't remember. But the Bears hand off to Vic and Weary, their running back. And he finds a crease and he is freaking gone, Jason. He's gone. Yeah. House call.
Right.
Only problem was dropped the football before.
Oh, I remember this play.
Yeah, that screwed me out of some cash right there.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what, Brian, I'm sorry. I'm enjoying these. Your own pain. I'm enjoying them. Not for your pain, but just, I
don't blame you.
These are good stories, but painful ones.
That was definitely painful. Okay, speaking of pain.
Yes.
Back to the gross exercise.
Okay.
We're looking for 7 new NFL playoff teams.
Yeah. So you had 4 AFC teams out, 3 NFC, and I flipped it. I had 4 NFC teams out that made it last year and 3 AFC.
Yeah. So you want to start with AFC here?
Sure.
Who you think's going to make it in?
Okay. So just to recap, I have the Chargers, Jacksonville, and Miami missing out from last year. All good teams that got in for different reasons. So since Jacksonville's out, Brian, I'm going to start with the team. Someone's got to win the division.
Yep.
And I really wanted to go the Colts, but I'm worried about quarterback play. So Tennessee will regroup. They had a good start to last year and then completely fell apart, lost their last 7 games. So I'm going to go with Tennessee.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think there's a lot of talent on that team. I'm a little worried about Kenny Pickett, but I think overall they're obviously well coached. I think they'll find a way to get in. And then I'm a believer in the Cleveland Browns. So I realize now I have the entire AFC North in the playoffs, which is probably wrong, but I do have the entire AFC North in the playoffs.
Top to bottom. And the other 3 division winners. It's going to make up the AFC.
Yeah, I think I just have a wrong list now that I realize that.
No, I don't think you're wrong.
Okay.
I don't think you're necessarily wrong because right now, all you have on record are the Browns and Steelers from that division in there.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay.
Now, if you also think the Ravens and the Bengals,
yeah, I'm keeping
that's
them
a
in.
little problematic.
I'm keeping them in. Then I guess I have the Bills. I said the division winner was going to be Tennessee and then the Chiefs.
It could happen.
I guess.
Let me throw this at you.
Yeah.
I won some money off of a friend of mine last year because he was like, the AFC West is loaded.
Oh, yeah.
Every team makes the playoffs.
Right.
I forget. He either said every team makes the playoffs or every team wins 10 games. One of the two.
Far off.
But it was insane.
Yeah.
Either way.
Easy money.
You're just giving me your money.
Yeah.
I don't think we're ever going to see an entire division make the NFL playoffs.
It's difficult. I mean, it really is because they beat each other up a little bit, obviously, and you need to, have some good fortune where like the bottom team is 8-9 or 9-8 and they get you in somehow.
Yeah. We saw it last season. There were a couple of divisions like the NFC East. The worst team was 8-1.
Yeah.
You're not that
almost
far
had
away.
4. Yeah, they had 3.
Right? Yeah, if Washington wins a couple of non-division games, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, Seattle was that other 9-8, so they could have snuck one in there.
Yeah, I would bet against it.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like the 16 beating the 1
right
in the NFL.
It's happened once, but yeah, exactly.
Okay, the NFC. We need
I need 4.
4 teams.
Yeah, so I'd remove the Giants, I'd remove the Vikings, I'd remove Tampa, and I'd remove Seattle. So let me go to the division winners. I'm going to give New Orleans the win in the division of the NFC South. representing the NFC North, taking the place of the Vikings. I'm putting in Detroit. And then 2 other wild cards here. I've got the Rams going in, and I've got the Falcons.
Hey, man, I don't hate it. I'm similar to you.
Okay.
So I've got it flip-flopped. I've got 4 in the AFC.
Right. You had Buffalo, Cincinnati, Jacksonville Chargers, right?
Yep. Those are out. So I'm going Jets. You know what's eerie with the Jets is if you compare them to Tampa with Tom Brady's first season.
Yeah.
So Tampa was coming off a 7-win season. That's what the Jets are coming off of. The Tampa hadn't made it for 12 years to the playoffs. That's the exact same drought for the Jets. I'm not saying the Jets are going to win it all.
Yeah.
I'm just saying those are a couple of interesting things that line up similarly between Brady's first year with Tampa and Aaron Rodgers' first year with the Jets. So I'm going to go with the Jets. Listen, Aaron Rodgers took a step back last season. I think that has a lot to do with the young guys around him in Green Bay last season. So with the real defense, with Garrett Wilson there, I think that the Jets could be a playoff team. I'm going to go Browns.
Okay.
If Deshaun Watson takes a step forward, that is a really talented roster that's not getting a whole lot of attention. Tennessee, on the same page with you. It just came off the tracks last season. Losses started to snowball. I don't look at Jacksonville as being this juggernaut that can't be dealt with. I think Tennessee could win that division. I'm going to go bold and say Denver.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Again, the Russ factor, if he has a resurgence, I really think he can. I don't think that he's just done. I don't. I was wrong last year. Maybe I'll be wrong going forward, but I just don't think this is it. In the NFC, I agree with you with the Lions. A lot of talent. Not a loaded division or a conference. I can absolutely see them sneaking in. I'll go Saints as well. Michael Thomas looks like he could be back. I know we've said that before, but you get Michael Thomas with Chris Olave. When you get Kamara back with Derek Carr, got a good defense.
Mm-hmm.
I think they clearly can win that division. And I'm with you also with the Rams.
Okay.
Just devastated by injuries last season. There are so many people just asleep, snoring on the Rams. And look, man, I don't like the core of that team. They've got, like, the F them picks model definitely took its toll on where that roster is right now. But if you have Stafford, Kupp, and Aaron Donald healthy last season, I don't think we're looking at a 5-12 team, and I don't think we're looking at the Rams the way we are going into this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think our list, you probably have a few more bold calls with the teams you took out, I think.
Yeah.
But and the Broncos, that's a pretty bold one, but I like it. I mean, it's interesting that we landed on some similarities with Lions, Rams, Browns, Titans, but gosh, 7. It's sometimes so hard to imagine that many teams being shifted out. I think that's also part of the appeal, Brian, of the NFL every year. It's just You just don't know.
That's the thing. That's what bugs me every year is find the shocker.
Right.
Find that team that was in last place or in third place that you're like, no way. Like, really? The Texans make the playoffs? Are you kidding me? You know what I mean?
Right.
They somehow they do.
Every year.
It's hard to spot the shocker.
Yeah.
I feel that way every year. And this year's no different.
Yeah, I was wondering if you're going to pick the Jets. There's a lot of love for them. Obviously, Hard Knocks. And Aaron Rodgers makes a ton of sense just how gifted he is. But that's a team getting a lot of hype.
Yeah, they are getting a ton of hype. Sometimes you shy away from the hype, and that's the wrong way to do it.
Right.
Right? Sometimes it works out that way. We'll see. All right, coming up next. Man, this market, it doesn't work both ways, but there is a team that is trying to make that the reality. We'll share that story with you on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Catch the Oakland A's every weekend on Sactown Sports. Friday nights, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Sinking, that's going to get down for a hit. Around third to score is Tony Kemp. And the A's have taken the lead. Edge of the track, makes the catch. And the Athletics get a great win.
Sactown Sports, your weekend home for the Oakland A's.
Sactown Sports coverage of the Oakland A's is brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Players of all abilities will tell you that Bartley Cavanaugh Golf Course is the area's #1 course for fun. Whether you're a beginner or an accomplished player, Bartley Cavanaugh has something for you. It's a great walking course, but motorized carts are available too. The moderately sized greens and generous fairway landing areas will add to your satisfaction and smiles for the day. Near the banks of the picturesque Sacramento River, Bartley Cavanaugh features the brand new tap room for all your beverage needs. For tee times, visit bartleycavanaugh.com. It's Sacramento's #1 course for fun.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life and your choices with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age, but there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
2 years ago, Americans watched in horror as a crisis unfolded at the Kabul airport.
There's desperation and anguish.
More than 80,000 Afghans have since arrived in America, but this story is still unfolding. I'm Andrea Smartin. In my new podcast, Stranger Becomes Neighbor, we'll find out what happens to these new arrivals in our communities. Who would help our newest neighbors? Follow us at kslpodcast.com, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you listen.
Labor Day, our annual celebration of workers and their achievements, was first observed in New York, and the first Monday in September became a national holiday in 1894. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. Each year we commemorate Labor Day with parades, picnics, and family gatherings. And right now, Naturewood Home Furnishings is celebrating with their exceptional whole store Labor Day sale. Would you like to refresh your living room? Would you like to restyle your bedroom? Maybe you want to redesign your home office. No matter whether it's your dining room, kids' rooms, accents, or accessories, Naturewood's unique store-wide Labor Day sale offers savings in every department and savings on every brand like Stanton, Omnia, England, Stickley, Flex Steel, and all the rest of the award-winning furniture. When it comes right down to it, it's all about choices and always about quality. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable Labor Day sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water wheel.
Don't wait, the giant summer sale ends soon at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. We make buying a new Honda easy and stress-free. Pre-order online or in person today. We'll be there to help you every step of the way. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Experience a golf tournament as refined as you are. The Fortinet Championship returns to Silverado Resort September 14th through the 17th. Be there as the best of Napa meets the best of the PGA Tour. With wine experiences, rockin' shows, and incredible golf. It's like this weekend was made for you. The Fortinet Championship, September 14th through the 17th. For tickets, go to FortinetChampionship.com.
Get ready for a night with Cole Swindell. The 2023 ACM Song of the Year winner hits Heart Health Park at Cal Expo in Sacramento, Saturday, September 9th for the CITP2 Fest. And Cole's bringing some friends like Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, Matt Stell, and more. Tickets start at $40 at CITPFest.com.
KHTKAM HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
Happy Monday. I'm Simone with your Sactown Sports headlines. San Francisco 49ers able to lasso the Denver Broncos with the come-from-behind win with the final score of 21-20. The victory notches their first win of the preseason, in part thanks to Jake Moody's late walk-off kick.
Snap, set, kick, high enough, long enough, and the Niners win!
The quarterback carousel continued to turn as Brock Purdy got the party started and went 4 for 5, throwing 65 hot ones. But the saga of Trey Lance continues to intrigue as the third-year gunslinger followed Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold to finish the day 12 of 18 with 173 passing yards, 1 passing TD, and 1 pick. And finally, Oakland Athletics hosts the Kansas City Royals at 6:40, and you, of course, can listen along right here on Sactown Sports. I'm Simone. Those are your headlines. Now back to more Sactown Sports.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sactown Sports.
Oh, welcome back in. I'm Brian Noe. He's Jason Ross here on Sactown Sports. Man, there's so much going on here, Jason. Goodness. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
What would cause you to shift your fandom for a team?
Oh,
you know
man.
what I mean? I just catch up with my guy, Jay. Jay and I go back, man. We used to work together. So to talk shop with Jay is awesome again. But he's an Oakland A's fan.
Yeah.
And it's understandable. He's like, hey, man, if they go to Vegas, I'm out. I totally get that. What beyond your favorite team moving would get you to say, I'm out? Not like I'm on hiatus. Like I am out altogether.
I don't know. I've always felt, Brian, in I don't know if the way I look at sports, like I can do a decent enough job, I think, of separating, even if an owner, a coach, a player that I don't like or agree with or something, whatever. Maybe they had an infraction of something. You're like, I don't really want to be represented with that team. Something like that. It's like, okay, I can separate it. I'm still a fan of the team, of the uniform, of the city, of the jersey, whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to think. I mean, the moving one, I totally understand. And, the Kings here in Sacramento, we were in serious jeopardy of that years ago. But I don't know. I almost feel like I could make it through just about anything. But the moving one is when you take a team away from a city, that's brutal.
Yeah, it is.
Do you have any breaking points?
I could see the moving thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if that would even do it for me. Because for me, if I'm not in the market or really close to the market, it's not as big of a deal.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like I grew up, I don't know why, just as a kid, ever since I can remember, I've always been a Miami Dolphins fan.
Okay.
I don't know why. Just happened. I probably liked the helmet when I was a kid. You know? And AJ Dewey was my guy. That's how far back I go. It was like just barely pre-Marino.
Yeah.
But like I'm from South Bend, Indiana.
Uh-huh.
If they moved from Miami, for me, right? Unless they became something other than the Dolphins, they're just in a different city.
Yeah.
I think it makes less sense for me personally if I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean,
now, if I lived in Miami or lived in Florida, that makes a lot more sense then.
Yeah. And went to games and was a regular kind of a part of feel like you're a part of the organization.
Yeah. It would have to be something out there.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, the Deshaun Watson situation comes to mind where there are a lot of fans that are saying, hey, I'm just out. And I get that. And if that's, hey, man, tomato. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But
I feel like I would maybe go out on the player more so than that's my team. I mean, it's tough I'd have to be put in the situation, but be like, oh man, I was kind of a fan of him or her. And then you go, nah, I'm done with them now.
Right. Yeah. I think it would have to be something out there. Maybe if there was, I could see if there's a relative. I've got 2 nephews. If somehow, some way, and they don't even play sports, but if they made it to the NFL or made it professionally, and I could see myself rooting for the rival team if that's who they played for. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's family first, right? That's an easy switch.
Yeah, but it'd have to be something pretty strong.
Right.
Pretty strong, right?
Maybe a bad beat.
Yeah, right?
Too many to
next
speak
segment.
of. Yeah.
I can't do one right now.
Okay,
I'll get you another bad beat here next segment, but it's too much on my heart right now,
Yeah.
How about the running back market being where it is? So it's expected where Josh Jacobs is going to report for the Raiders as their running back this week. This is the expectation. And it comes back to there's just no leverage. That's really it with running backs in the NFL right now. We're just a few weeks removed from Saquon Barkley saying on a podcast, hey, maybe I just hold out and say, bleep the team, bleep my teammates. That's my leverage. And then after getting $900,000 in incentives, he was back because he's got no leverage. And I hate that it's the reality, but it is. And it's sadly where we are. I agree with Najee Harris, the Steelers running back, where he said, we're valued everywhere but at the negotiating table.
Yeah.
And it's true. If you look at Josh Jacobs, he had 49% of the touches last season. He's still getting a bulk of the game plan, the touches, the production. So it's not like the Raiders are like, hey, we're kind of out on running backs. We're just going to chuck it around and you're not a focal point of the offense, Josh. Well, that makes sense. But he is a focal point of the offense. He's just not getting paid for it.
Yeah, and I think I don't have a good answer as to why they don't get paid. I know the organizationally, people just go, well, we can literally put someone else in your plug and play. But then yet some of these guys are still drafted very highly, acted upon to be difference makers, like Saquon Barkley, like Zeke Elliott, let's say, for example. Years ago, the Cowboys, invest a 4th pick overall on him and expect him to be a Hall of Fame type running back. Had some good years with the Cowboys, but last year, Pollard's the one Cowboy that ran for over 1,000 yards. So it's take out one, put in the other, and you get the result. So it's a really weird deal because there are a few guys that are special, but yet I don't know that any of them get paid like certainly not like their quarterbacks. That's for sure.
Yeah. And look, man, I get it. I understand that other positions are prioritized. Okay. If you say we got to have a quarterback, we're going to pay those guys. I get it. We need an edge rusher. We need a corner. We need a left tackle. Okay, fine. I understand you're prioritizing other positions that you're going to pay before running back. Understood. But it would make a lot more sense if running back was more like fullback. Fullback has been phased out.
Right.
There are few fullbacks that matter. Kyle Juszczyk is one of the few that really matter, that are utilized. It's like if running backs, their touches greatly dwindled, and therefore they're not getting paid, that would make a lot more sense. But when the touches are still there, they're still heavily involved in the game plan, the production is still there, and yet they're not getting paid. It's hard to make sense of that. And that's where running backs, put yourself in the shoes of a running back, where it's like, you're still giving me the ball left and right. I'm still gaining these yards. I'm still catching passes. Austin Eckler of the Chargers had 107 catches last season. 107.
Yeah. Just a
and
featured
Chargers,
player.
Yeah. They're like, no, we're not paying you. You're a running back.
and if I'm a running back too coming into the league, Brian, I'm lying about my age, even though I think you probably can't really get away with it from college. But it just seems like then you get to that number, that high 20s, 28, 29. Oh, Cliff, you're done.
Right.
We're not. I mean, you're just an afterthought.
Right. This is probably a terrible comparison, but I'll try to do it with radio off the top of my head. This is always dangerous, the comparison on the fly, Jason. But let's give it a shot. Okay, let's say you're a midday host. Okay? Highly successful. Your ratings are off the charts. And yet the station says, well, listen, we're prioritizing morning drive, afternoon drive. Those just matter more. Okay, there are more people listening at those times. Fine. And, you might start to lose a step now that you've hit this certain age. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You'd be like, wait a minute. So my ratings are awesome. I'm still bringing in money for the station. I haven't hit a cliff, and I'm not getting paid just because I might. Like, you'd be tearing your hair out.
Yeah.
But that's what running backs are dealing with in the NFL right now.
Yeah, and it doesn't even matter. I mean, Jacobs had the most yards. He was over, 1,600 on the ground. So you've got the most successful running back, at least last year, having trouble getting paid. Barkley's been, when healthy, one of the better running backs. And I don't know what their recourse is. Was it about maybe 5 years ago now where Le'Veon Bell was sitting out basically saying, I'm doing this for the future, for everyone else, other running. It didn't help. It didn't work.
Yeah. I know it. And it actually set running backs further back.
Yeah.
Because now ownership is looking and saying, they're not blinking. This is a game of chicken.
Yeah.
And they're like, what are you going to do? Pull a Le'Veon Bell?
Yeah. Okay.
That didn't work out for him.
Right.
Like, what's your play here?
Yeah. We'd love you. We'd rather play you. But if you're not in, we literally will do next man up. We will.
Yeah.
And have someone that would love to have your job, get paid pretty well, too. I mean, by and large, they're all getting paid well. They should be getting paid more, but they're getting paid well. And, we'll just keep it moving.
What's the expression? Have your cake and eat it, too.
Right.
There is a team that absolutely wants that to happen. Oh, I love this story. We'll share it with you right around the corner of the team that it wants a situation to work out for them in two completely different directions is basically what's going on here. That is on the way here on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
The first ever NBA in-season tournament schedule is out, and our Kings have some great matchups, including national TV games against the Spurs and Warriors.
And Sacramento has won. They have risen to the occasion. And let me tell you, if you can't sense it, this place is absolutely nuts.
Listen to every game on the home of the Kings, Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
I'm Craig Ashton of the injury law firm of Ashton & Price. Whether you've been injured on a bicycle, as a pedestrian in a slip and fall, auto, Uber, Lyft, or big rig accident, you need Ashton & Price in your corner. When you call Ashton & Price, there's no chatbot telling you to hit 3 for accounting. You're greeted by a real live person who will immediately transfer you to an experienced attorney. The consultation's free, and there's never a fee until you win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Whether you're shopping for your favorite Honda online or in person, you'll see why Stockton Honda is the #1 Honda dealer in Northern California, and why buying from Stockton Honda couldn't be smoother. Visit in person or online at StocktonHonda.com, where your favorite Honda is ready for you.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
#1 claim based on 2022 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's own loan report.
Sacramento's official home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Sactown Sports.
Welcome back to Sactown Sports. I'm Brian Noe. He's Jason Ross. Oh, I love this team. Oh, that's a beauty. The Indianapolis Colts here, Jason. So they have they've given Jonathan Taylor, their running back, permission to seek a trade. And the Colts, they are asking for a first-round draft pick.
Okay.
Or multiple draft picks.
Sure.
That would be the equivalent of a first-round pick. Now, here's the thing. Think about this. This is why it's so beautiful. This has been the off season of the Colts saying, we're not really going to pay a running back top dollar. Remember Jim Irsay, the team owner? He went on Twitter and paraphrasing, he was like, hey, all these agents that are saying, hey, running backs need to make more money, and there's a CBA, it's negotiated, spare me your tears, deal with it. We're not paying running backs. That was essentially what his tweet was.
Right.
And then he went and said, hey, if Jonathan Taylor leaves the NFL, no one's going to miss him. He followed that up with. So the Colts are saying to Jonathan Taylor through their actions, we are not giving you a long-term extension because the running back market is where it is. And then they've just pivoted. They've done a 180, and they said, okay, the asking price for this fine running back who is just, a year removed from an 1,800 rushing season. He rushed for over 1,800 yards. This guy is worth a first-round pick. This guy, Jonathan Taylor, when he's healthy, is a game breaker. We need top dollar for this guy. It can't work both ways. And that's exactly what the Colts are trying to do, is for it to work both ways for them.
Well, and it's another example of how quickly sports move and how quickly things can change, because you're right. The 2 seasons ago, Jonathan Taylor, MVP candidate, great season, franchise piece. The following year, the #1 pick in fantasy football. You got to take a running back. It's got to be him. He's the weapon. He's lethal. He can do it all. He gets hurt, and now he's forgotten, and now they are willing to move, trade, want all the assets for him. I mean, it is crazy how quickly things can transition for an organization.
It is. And I absolutely love that. I think it's hysterical. The tweet, I have to get the tweet out where he's just like, agents selling bad faith. And that's Jim Irsay was so stupid for the way he handled this whole off season.
Yeah.
It's like, here's the deal. We get it. The running back market is not booming. These guys are not making top dollar or anything close to it. So as an organization, if you're not going to give your running back an extension, top dollar, what have you, the least you can do is butter him up with flowery words.
Right.
That's the bare minimum. And the Colts did the exact opposite. They're like, there's a CBA, you're not getting paid, deal with it.
Yeah.
And we're not going to miss you when you're gone, JT. That was the offseason for the Colts. They made it far more difficult for themselves than they ever needed to make it. Think about other teams like the Giants.
Sure.
They didn't do that with Saquon Barkley.
No.
They didn't say, we're not paying you, and there's a CBA, and deal with it. They didn't do any of that extra stuff. And shocker, he's back there.
Yeah. Running, ready to go, be the number one carrier. You'd asked in the last segment, Brian, about, what could take your fandom away? What could it do besides moving? How about an owner like Jim Irsay? I mean, I think that you've spent some time there. How do the people, the Colts fans, Colts Nation, whatever they call it there, like feel about an owner that constantly steps in it?
The surprising thing is this offseason, they were just like, I kind of agree with him.
Wow.
I'm like, what? This is a crash course on what not to do.
Exactly.
Yeah. That was the whole offseason for Irsay, is how not to handle this situation. And the fan base, by and large, was just like, you kind of has a point. This is the running back market. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's true. That doesn't mean it's good for business. You know what I mean? Like, listen, Jason, if your girl comes to you and says, hey, does this dress make me look fat?
Right.
If it does, you don't say, yeah, it absolutely does. Like, it's not good. So even this idea that you're telling the truth, therefore everything is good, that's not the way it works with your running back who's trying to get paid but isn't getting paid.
Yeah, and then it begs the question, so if they really do go this route, if they really are saying, yeah, we're willing to move you, we're back in that question, like the value of the running back. I think a lot of teams would say, yes, we'd absolutely love Jonathan Taylor on our team. But at what cost? And what, if they're asking for a first round or more, like I could picture him on a lot of teams helping him, but who's willing to do it? You don't need everybody. You need one, but do they have the one that would be willing to make a move like that?
Man, and that's the thing. There's a report out that the Dolphins are going to at least kick the tires on the idea of making a move for Jonathan Taylor. And Jason, as I stated before, fins up.
That's your team. You're all in, huh?
Dude.
Yeah.
If they pull off another one like DJ Khaled,
another one.
They've already traded for Tyreek Hill. They've traded for Bradley Chubb. They've traded for Jalen Ramsey. I don't want to see Ram-style F them picks. Not for a running back.
Right.
I like Jonathan Taylor a lot, but you can't sacrifice all of your draft capital. They should have just gone out and got Dalvin Cook. You don't have to trade anything to get the guy.
And it took a while to get him. Zeke was out there for a while. There's been guys that could have been had.
Yeah. And now they're going to think about trading for Jonathan Taylor? Come on, man. Listen, I'm surprised that Carolina got as much as they did for Christian McCaffrey.
Right.
And listen, CMC he's fantastic. But in this day and age, to get a second, a third, a fourth, and a fifth for Christian McCaffrey, that's pretty good for the Panthers, who had to move him.
Yeah.
They had to.
And they actually had definitely a better record than what they were. And I don't think it's a reflection of him, but it might be the combination of Matt Rule being out, McCaffrey, what they got back. Just a little clean of house made them finish with the feel good, at least to the end of last year.
Yeah. And it's worked out for the Niners. Look, man, they did not start off. There's a 500 team to begin the season. And when McCaffrey got there, their offense took off. He was huge for that team. There is no doubt about that. And think about that, what it meant for Brock Purdy in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Think if you didn't have Christian McCaffrey back there. Elijah he's all right.
Yeah.
But he's not giving you 17 games. You know what I mean?
And yeah, that's the thing. Like when they had Mitchell, he was all right. That's a perfect way to describe him. But when you get McCaffrey and the way he played in that system, he's special. And that made the offense that much more special, rounded them out completely.
And that's the thing, too, is the production of McCaffrey, what he does out of the backfield catching the ball, not just running it. It's crazy, some of his catch totals. His first 3 years in the NFL, Jason, get this, his catches in Carolina, 80, 107, 116. Those are just catches.
Yeah.
That third season, he had almost 2,400 yards from scrimmage. And look, Christian McCaffrey has had some injuries. There's no doubt about that. But just last season, combined, 108 catches. He's got 4 seasons of his 6 in the NFL where he's got at least 100 catches.
Yeah.
That's special. So it's weird in this day and age where McCaffrey is the exception. He's the guy who's gotten paid. He has the big contract for a running back. And he's the guy who a team shelled out a lot of compensation for. And there are a lot of teams that aren't willing to do either for top-end guys.
Yeah, and I don't know where this will end for the Colts and for Taylor because, again, there is talent. There is someone that would be coveting. I still think the Colts should, but I don't know if this can be – well, I guess things can always be patched. But what are the chances, would you say, if you're – it sounds like we do know you are a betting man. Are you betting that Taylor plays another down for the Colts?
Man, I would bet no.
Yeah.
But it's not like an all-in bet.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Kind of once you start down that road, once you've opened that door, it's hard to close that one.
It just feels like this could be a move based on principle as well for Jonathan Taylor. And listen, sometimes that doesn't end well for you. I've done some things just based on principle that weren't in my best interest.
Yeah.
But I still had to based on the situation. And JT might be getting to that point. Where think about how this offseason is played out. You're not getting your deal. You're not getting what you think is fair value. The team owner puts a tweet out there saying, tough deal with it. There's a CBA. Then says they're not going to miss you when you're out of the league. Right? Like, that's a lot of ammunition to say what James Harden said, which is, I'm never going to be a part of an organization that Daryl Morey is a part of. Jonathan Taylor might think that about Jim Irsay.
Yeah. Right. And it becomes a tough situation for that to be patched over.
Yeah, and as of late, too, it's been funky where JT leaves camp to rehab the ankle. He's requested a trade, and the Colts are acting like that never happened. They'll interview the head coach and say, do you expect him back in camp? And he's like, yeah, when the ankle's better, we expect him back in camp. Like, he hasn't asked to be elsewhere. And that could have rubbed him the wrong way as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was back for a second, and then he was gone again for personal reasons, and now they're like, go ahead, just seek a trade.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be back.
Man, too much talent. No. Again, once you start that road, Irsay doesn't see – I mean, Irsay's been very open. It's like, yeah, if he's not on this team, will anybody – and not in so many words, like – and he included himself. I forget how that one quote he had, like, if either he or I aren't here anymore, does anybody really care? And it's like, well, that's kind of deep. But
Yeah.
I think it's too tough now. I think they've opened that door.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Yeah.
Definitely seems like it. All right, coming up next, why I've learned to take Jay Johnson's advice in every regard. And also, this guy says he's the GOAT. Do you agree with that? That's on the way here on Sactown Sports and Sactownsports.com.
It's Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Guess who's the latest quarterback to turn down Netflix quarterback series? Scratch Daniel Jones off the list. How can you fault anyone who just says, I just don't want the distraction?
Because it's not a distraction.
You have to
How is that distracting?
Do you have to talk? You have to talk to them, right? At some
Yeah,
point.
like on a random Thursday, like in the middle of the season.
There's other things I'd rather do during the season.
It's Whitey and Watkins from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sactown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by the Arnold Law Firm.
I'm Mark Finan in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. We'll have a threat of showers and thunderstorms all the way into the early evening tonight. Overnight, the clouds will clear. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny with highs in the low 90s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA3 News and the KCRA3 app.
The Arnold Law Firm has seen how a collision can turn anyone's life upside down in a heartbeat. So remember to be a little more alert on the road and stay safe. The Arnold Law Firm, providing real justice for you since 1975. Call 916-777-7777.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Get wings the way you want them. Try Twin Peaks wings bone-in breaded, naked, smoked and grilled, or boneless in your favorite sauce or rub.
Who's ready for some Kings basketball?
Inside of Sabonis, a two-hand rip, a brilliant pass from De'Aaron Fox.
The NBA schedule is out and we can't wait for opening night at Golden One Center on Friday, October 27th when the Kings take on the Warriors. Tickets for all preseason and regular season games are on sale now. So head to kings.com/tickets to get yours. Be there live to see the Beam Team in action and cheer on your Sacramento Kings this season.
Let me tell you, if you can't sense it, this place is absolutely nuts.
At Fisher Investments, our clients know we have their backs.
How do your clients know that?
Because Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, the highest standard for a financial advisor. It means we're there for our clients and always put their interests first.
So wait, you do it because you have to?
No, we do it because it's the right thing to do. Our clients trust us with their retirement savings, and we know how important that responsibility is. So we take the time to really get to know them.
Get to know them how?
We make sure we understand their unique goals, finances, health, family, and lifestyle, so we can tailor their portfolio to their specific needs. Our goal is to help them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Sounds like a big responsibility. You must make big commissions then, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We have one single transparent fee that's structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Did you know the average person walks 100,000 miles in their lifetime? It's true. That's a whole lot of stress, strain, and pressure ultimately put on 2 feet. Hi, DC Doug Christie here for the Good Feet store. As a spokesperson for Good Feet, I run into all sorts of surprising foot-related facts. Like despite relatively few Americans being born with foot issues, over time, 75% of all adults will experience painful foot or foot-related problems. By supporting all 4 arches of the foot, the Good Feet 3-step arch support system can help return your foot and whole body to its proper alignment. Come to the Good Feet store for a free, no obligation arch support fitting, then take them for a test walk. Experience the comfort, balance, and support of the Good Feet 3-step arch support system. The Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and now Vacaville. Online at goodfeet.com.
For nearly 20 years since Bartley Kavanaugh Golf Course opened near the banks of the Sacramento River, it's been Sacramento's #1 course for fun. Perry Dye of the famous Dye family of golf course architects designed the course to be an easy walk, but motorized carts are available as well. You and your friends of all abilities will find Bartley Kavanaugh featuring a brand new tap room is a great place to play golf. After your round, relax on the outdoor veranda overlooking the course with a cold beverage or a tasty meal. For tee times, visit BartleyKavanaugh.com. It's Sacramento's #1 course for fun.
Get to Acura of Stockton, where precision-crafted performance is at your fingertips. Elevate your driving experience with a vehicle that's built to impress. Acura of Stockton has a great selection of new Acuras and customer service that will exceed your expectations. And right now, lease a new Acura TLX, MDX, or Integra with low lease rates available. Take luxury to a whole new level in a new Acura from Acura of Stockton. See all our inventory and specials at AcuraofStockton.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
Happy Monday. I'm Simone with your Sactown Sports headlines. San Francisco 49ers able to lasso the Denver Broncos with the come-from-behind win with the final score of 21-20. The victory notches their first win of the preseason, in part thanks to Jake Moody's late walk-off kick.
Snap, set, kick, high enough, long enough, and the Niners win!
The quarterback carousel continued to turn as Brock Purdy got the party started and went 4 for 5, throwing 65 hot ones. But the saga of Trey Lance continues to intrigue as the third-year gunslinger followed Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold to finish the day 12 of 18 with 173 passing yards, 1 passing TD, and 1 pick. And finally, Oakland Athletics host the Kansas City Royals at 6:40, and you, of course, can listen along right here on Sactown Sports. I'm Simone. Those are your headlines. Now back to more Sactown Sports.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sactown Sports.
Welcome back at Sactown Sports. I'm Brian Noe. He's Jason Ross. Listen, you got some news here. I'll say it very quickly. I'm going to listen to everything that Jay Johnson tells me from this point forward. He was like, I would go with the Phillies tonight. And looks like I should have. It's 3-2 early in the third.
Okay.
But, getting off to a 3-1 start, I think that's reason enough for me to do everything that Jay says I should do from this point forward.
I've listened to Jay for years. I thought I was a little nervous early on. Jock Peterson homered in the top of the first. I thought, I don't know if he's already behind if he went with him. But, 3-2, you got the lead now. It's early on. That Philly offense generally scores a bunch of runs. So I think you'll be okay.
Yeah. If he's like, invest in cryptocurrency.
What could go wrong?
What could be bad with that? Well, you got some news for us here. What's on your mind,
I want to
Jason?
ask you about this something. So this is something I don't know. I feel like is exclusive to Sacramento, and I've been here for a long, long time. But you've bounced around a little bit, so you've experienced other markets, and you're pretty dialed into a lot of different sports markets here. So the question for you, Brian, is this: the Sacramento Kings roster is pretty solidified, is pretty set, almost all the way finalized, and just recently here a recent signing, according to Shams and other reports. NBA guys that cover the league, that a former King, Skal Labissière, has signed a 1-year partially guaranteed deal with the Kings. Now, they drafted him years ago, had some moments here, but in and out, and then he's moved on, has had to keep his playing career in other leagues. And, I applaud him for that. He's just going through the grind. But already I'm seeing on Kings Twitter and all that, just an excitement for Skal is back. Look at this roster, what a difference he could make. And my honest opinion is I'm happy for him. That's awesome. If the Kings are behind it, that's great. But I don't see where he's playing. And I felt like there may have been some other areas to address. But I feel like the funny proposition, I think the way it works here in this market to me, Brian, is like the guys that don't play are should get their chance, and they're always the best players. And then they get down on the guys that get an opportunity to actually play and have probably deserved their minutes. It just seems like an odd thing that happens here in Sacramento.
Hey, man, I think it happens everywhere.
Okay.
And
probably true.
I covered Skal. I worked in Portland for 3 years.
Okay.
And Skal, listen, he's a hustle guy.
Yeah. There's some potential there, but
little potential. He's a high pick, but not every high pick pans out. Listen, I was that guy as well, where, look, I always think of it like this. If you're excited for your team, I get it. But if your reaction is the exact opposite, should that same guy sign for the rival team, you're just being a homer.
Yeah.
That's really all it is.
Yeah.
Because the Blazers would sign guys like, who was the outside shooter? He was and he was at the tail end of his career from Creighton. I'm having a hard time remembering who it was.
Did they sign Doug McDermott? Is that who I'm thinking of?
No, it was, I'll have to go back in the archives here and get the name for you. But it's like, this is a great signing. And it's like, this is literally going to do nothing.
Right.
I don't like being that guy to tell him like, hey, listen, but I would just say this is a good way for you to check yourself if you're going a little bit overboard, is if Skal signs with the Warriors or a rival team, are you saying, that's definitely going to help them a lot?
Right.
I don't think you are.
No, and I think more times than not, I can understand this to an extent, but then it also tells you what a front office thinks. But let's take another. I don't have a player in mind, but player X signs with another team in the league at a rate or a deal that you're like, how did they get them? Why didn't the Kings kick the tires on that? Well, there was probably a reason. They just weren't interested, because it seems like just because another team got what is perceived to be a great deal doesn't mean the Kings could have gotten the same deal.
That's right. Yeah. And the player was Anthony Tolliver.
Oh, former King. He was here a couple. That's when you said Creighton. I should have got that one.
Yeah, but he signed with the Blazers, and this was at the end of the line, And some of the fans were like, "Oh, this is good. The outside shooting, they need this." I'm like, guys, no.
Yeah. And we
not at that stage of his career.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah. And we have that here, like once a king, always a king, kind of beloved, unless you've done something that the fans just, hold against you. But most players don't. And we've already got some people on the YouTube and the text line, wait, they signed Scal and not Harry Giles. So kind of back to that, who Harry Giles went to Portland as well and had some moments, been with the Clippers and trying to rehab multiple different injuries off the years. But fans have their favorites. I get it. But I mean, the bulk of this roster and the key rotation players are already identified. And if Scal can crack the code, good for him. But I just feel like this is just kind of a late add that, just another roster body to the roster.
It's interesting to me, Jason. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel like there's this baseline optimism for most fans when their team signs a guy.
Yes.
Right? There's this hope factor. There's this, hopefully this will help out. That's fine. But it's always interesting to me where that baseline meter is, if it goes higher or lower than that, based on whatever factors are at play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's some guys where it's just, I don't know, you got this blind spot and it's like, but I really like this guy and I want to believe, you know what I mean? And then it's the opposite with others. I always find that interesting how it works with it's case by case that way.
Sure. Yeah. And I think that's the way it goes. And well, I can't say generally everybody's always optimistic. That's not always the case because you have plenty of pessimists out there. But yeah, I people get a little bit out of whack on their expectations. And I found this to be true, Brian. Like if you've just seen highlights or stats of a player that's on the Atlanta Hawks or the Detroit Pistons, and then they become a king or not even a king yet, you're like, oh man, imagine that guy on this team. And then when that guy becomes on the team, then you see him every game and you see some of the flaws and the warts. And that's just, you don't, when you're not watching a guy every day, you don't know what some of their limitations are.
Right. Well, sure. There's no doubt about that. And listen, we're getting more and more, this sounds again like old guy logic here, but it's true. We're getting more and more into the highlight realm
for sure
of evaluating players.
Yeah.
Listen, we're busy. We have lives. You might have kids. You might have a mortgage to pay. You're not watching games on a night in, night out basis. That's fine. But what you're seeing is whatever they put on Sports Center, you're getting this in the NFL. You think that's what they are. Really, we're a lot like managers at this point. This is what happens in almost every company. You're too busy to pay attention to what everybody's doing. So you take a couple of big picture things, and then you just kind of assume the rest.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what a lot of managers do.
I haven't heard from that portion of the company, so we're good there, right? Until you realize maybe we're not.
Right. Anthony Richardson of the Colts. If you see on SportsCenter, he has this nice deep throw to a wide receiver against the Bills. You're like, hey, and I read a couple of things. They're saying he's looking good. I guess this guy is looking great so far. And it's like, if you watch the games, he missed hitch routes.
Right.
There were 2 hitch routes nowhere near his wide open receiver. That's an issue. And so that's the thing is not to go complete old man yelling at clouds.
Yeah.
But if you're just going on highlights, you might not have a true picture of what any player is really all about.
Oh, for sure. And there's some, and here in Sacramento, generally where we have, we walk the line, Brian, of hey, no, we're a small town, but yet then sometimes, no, we're a big city. Don't forget about us. It's like we're trying to play both sides. We got this inferiority complex. And then, I remember a preseason game this year, the Kings played the Lakers, and the Kings, I don't know, they won by like 40. And SportsCenter that night showed a LeBron highlight because he played a little bit, AD highlight. I think Westbrook went like 0 for 8. And then the score was like Sacramento 144-91. I'm like, really? I mean, I get you want to show some of their stars, and it was preseason, but still, you're like, if you just saw that, you're like, wow, the Lakers must have won pretty handily. And it was Kings. Instead, it was the other way around.
Right. That's the way it goes sometimes.
Follow the media rule, I guess.
I think especially for quarterbacks, if you're doing your highlight analysis, that can be really wrong.
Yeah.
Really wrong because Look, man, the completion on 3rd and 4, that's not going to lead Sports Center.
Right.
Okay, but if you miss those throws, you're going to lose games.
Yes.
And so
very true.
There are some players that are great at making jaw-dropping plays that will miss some of the layups. And missing those layups, it accumulates, and that leads to losses. And if you're not watching the games, you won't even know that.
Yeah.
You're just watching the highlights.
That's why the drafts are so dangerous in every sport. But they put together their highlight packages, which they should do. And you're like, oh, this, left tackle from Bowling Green. And you're like, oh, my gosh, look at all those pancake blocks. And you're like, he looks great. But then when he gets in real action, you know what? He's a little bit slower than I thought and doesn't do this and maybe doesn't read, jump off the ball. But the packages look amazing if you haven't followed it, everything that they do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That definitely goes into it as well. You see that all the time, man. It's like, hey, this guy from UTEP looks amazing.
Right. He does.
Well, yeah, because it's a highlight. It's a demo tape for a radio station,
Yes.
right? That's why they're like, send me an hour unedited.
Right.
Don't edit anything.
Mm-hmm. You'd hear it all.
Well, that's going to sound different than my highlight reel,
For
you know?
sure.
That's the way it goes, man. All right, we got a lot to get to. We've got the guy says he's the GOAT. Do you agree? And also getting to know Ross a little bit more. You know what I mean? You're here daily. I still can look under rocks that haven't been looked under of yet. We'll have some fun with that on the way. It is Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Will Christian McCaffrey lead the NFL in rushing? Can Sacramento's own Eric Armstead bring his game to another level?
Prescott back steps up in the pocket. He gets sacked. Back on the 15-yard line. Get in my belly.
Get in my
says
belly.
Eric Armstead.
Will rookie Jake Moody pick up where veteran kicker Robbie Gould left off? Find out on Whitey and Watkins every day at 11 a.m. during the 49ers Focus on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Bonnie.
I'm Mark Finan in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. We'll have a threat of showers and thunderstorms all the way into the early evening tonight. Overnight, the clouds will clear. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny with highs in the low 90s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
Imagine taking a nice warm bath in your shower. Let us fix that. Right now, get that clogged drain unclogged for just $97. Bonnie, plumbing, sewer, electrical, heating, and air. Bonnie.com. Some restrictions apply. License 696-355.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Sometimes progress toward global net zero can be hard to see, invisible even. Like how Chevron is targeting 25 million tons of CO2 per year in storage and offsets by 2030. While at the same time, working with partners to reduce the cost of carbon capture and scale the technology to other industries like cement, innovating toward lower carbon solutions today while helping others do the same for the future. That's energy in progress. Visit chevron.com/carbon capture.
At Harbor Freight, we think you shouldn't have to break the bank to get great tools. Because we know that for some of you, tools are part of the job. And for others, they're just the beginning of making, fixing, restoring, and building. That's why we make high-quality tools that are priced affordably. Because we love being the start of all your working, making, fixing, restoring, and building. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Are you ready to cruise into the new school year in style? Look no further than Elk Grove Kia's Back to School sales event happening right now. Rev up your engines because the 2023 Kia Forte LXS is calling your name. Zoom through town in this sleek ride for just $149 a month plus tax. Unbeatable style and affordability in one package. But wait, it gets even better. Feel the adrenaline rush with the 2024 Kia K5 GT line, the hottest sedan this side of the Pacific. Get behind the wheel for only $299 a month plus tax. Experience power, performance, and sophistication like never before. Don't miss out on the best selection we've had in over 3 years. Check us out at Elk Grove Kia or elkgrovekia.com. 2023 Forte 24-month lease of $149 plus tax with $41.30 required at signing, residual of $15,256 at $10K per year, 20 cents per mile over, 0 security deposit required, subject to finance approval. GK 8921 expires 8/31/23. 2024 K 524-month lease of $299 plus tax with $47.12 required at signing, residual of $21,782 at $10K per year, 20 cents per mile over, 0 security deposit required, subject to finance approval. GK 8932 expires 8/31/23.
Elk Grove Kia.
2 years ago, Americans watched in horror as a crisis unfolded at the Kabul airport.
There's desperation and anguish.
More than 80,000 Afghans have since arrived in America, but this story is still unfolding. I'm Andrea Smartin. In my new podcast, Stranger Becomes Neighbor, we'll find out what happens to these new arrivals in our communities. Who would help our newest neighbors? Follow us at kslpodcast.com, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you listen.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sactown Sports.
Welcome back to Sactown Sports. I'm Brian Noe. He's Jason Ross. So before we get you to reveal your deepest, darkest secret here, Jason, getting to know Ross, let's dive into the Steph Curry waters, shall we? So he was a guest on the Gilbert Arenas podcast, and a couple of interesting things to pay attention to. He's asked a question. Listen to how long he pauses before answering it, and then listen to Gilbert Arenas' logic in particular after Steph answers this question. Check this out.
Are you the best point guard ever?
Yes. I have. Yes. It's me and Magic. That's the conversation.
Yeah. Like it just, you know, I look at the stats and say, okay, Magic then Curry. When I look at the kids and I watch AAU, it's like, nah.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously I have to answer it that way, but I really feel like, to your point, like Magic's resume is ridiculous. Yeah. Like, all right, so the fact that we're even having that conversation is it's a place I never thought I'd be in. But the fact that, to your point of like how you grade it and the whole conversation, that's why we have the conversations, because it's fun. So you put me on my own team, yeah, I'm gonna rep myself for sure.
Okay. Here's the thing. Might be nitpicking. The first thing where he's like, "Are you the greatest point guard ever?" And Steph waits about 5 seconds and is like, I think my only play here is to say yes, you know, like,
yeah,
right. Like, and he said, yeah. The other thing is, I hate it's not just someone's position. It's how the position is supported.
Right.
Okay. Arenas said it right there. He's like, when I look at the stats, I say Magic, then Steph. But when I think about these AAU kids, advantage Steph.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think he meant by that, though?
Trying to emulate Steph, trying to,
well, because I can't emulate 6'9".
Well, it's true.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. That's part of it. But how this is graded is crazy to me, where it's like, what did you do while playing the game? Who was better than who? It's not who's emulating who.
Mm-hmm.
It's not who's a better guy. It's not who bought more Girl Scout cookies. You know what I mean? It's like, who did what when they played? Why are we making it more complicated than that?
Yeah. And it's weird where we want to parcel things out in one sense or parse them out and say it's positionless basketball. But then if you're going to go specifically who is the best point guard, it's weird. For the longest time, I didn't always think of Steph as a point guard.
Sure.
You know, but he's got assists to back that up. He's played the position. I'd go greatest shooter of all time, but I think of Magic as the greatest point guard of all time. But one of his best stories and highlights is 1980 playing center while Kareem is out and doing it beautifully and helping guide the Lakers to a championship over Philadelphia. So, you know, we're trying to take these guys out of positions, and then yet when you say positionless, but I guess when I close my eyes and think of the point guard position, I honestly, Brian, think of Magic Johnson.
Yeah. I think the same thing. And Steph has had an amazing career.
100%. And when he said Magic stats are amazing, Steph, yours are too. Your resume is ridiculous as well.
It is. He's had a tremendous career. And that's the only downside of this is I think Jeff Van Gundy said it. I think he was quoting, but he said comparison is the thief of joy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, before they kicked him to the curb and said, you're too negative, go somewhere else.
Right. For some reason. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's true. Like, we've had these Jordan LeBron knockdown dragouts for years. And the downside is you have to sort of like push someone down.
Exactly.
LeBron has had an amazing career. I don't think he's had a career as good as Jordan's, but that doesn't mean it's like sloppy seconds or something. You know what I mean? Like he's had an amazing career. And if Steph is a little less than Magic, that doesn't mean that he barely made an NBA roster.
Right.
You know, that's the only thing I hate about this stuff.
Yeah, and the other part, obviously, there's no way to prove it. Eras are a little different, and it's a talk show exercise. It's a water cooler exercise. It's a car drive across the country exercise. We all have done it. We all will continue to do it. But I still think about people even before Magic Johnson. Like, how do you compare Bill Russell to Shaq? Jokic to Oscar Robertson? Like, I don't even know. That seems so unfair to all parties involved.
It is tough. Listen, man, if you're talking even quarterbacks in the NFL, the eras are so different.
Yeah.
It's not easy to do. And it's not easy to do the projection game. What do we have, like inflation, when you adjust for inflation? You can do that. How do you adjust for statistics in different eras? You know, like what would Joe Namath do today?
Right. And
better, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know how much better.
Well, and then there's the portion of, I will say, older players that hang on to that team. That current Warrior team couldn't hang with, Scottie Pippen, our Chicago Bulls. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're wrong. I don't know. But to dismiss their ability by saying how good I don't know. Again, it's back to your point of you're trying to highlight yourself, yet to do so more times than not, you're pushing down someone else.
Right. And that's the tough thing for Steph. It's not like he gave an argument as to why. You got to answer the question of why.
Yeah. And I don't have a problem with him saying himself, because look, it's not, it's not Gilbert Arenas saying I'm the greatest point guard. You're like, yeah, you were good, right. But like, you're not. You are not the greatest point guard of all time. But it's Steph where you go, yeah, it's a pretty good debate. He might be. For a lot of people, he is. And I don't think it's a wrong answer. And for others, he's not. But if he's not, he's second, he's third, he's right up at the top.
It's weird how you think of it, too. I think with it being less of a Magic versus Steph thing, it's like when you say point guard,
right?
What does that mean to you?
Yeah.
Because it could mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And whether you think about distributor first, shooter second, if that's your idea of a point guard, just that alone, it's not going to be Steph. So it kind of depends on how you think of it also.
Great point, because we're in a day and age right now. We mentioned Dame earlier, De'Aaron Fox here, Steph Curry, James Harden, other people that are playing the position and are getting 30 points a game and yet still dishing out 7, 8, 10 assists. It's just the position's different than when John Stockton played it. And it doesn't mean John Stockton didn't play it well. He played it very well. It's just, it's morphed, it's modified. And we talked about it earlier, Brian, like big guys, like Shaq did it differently. Kareem did it differently than Jokic and Embiid are doing, than Sabonis is doing right now.
Right. It's funny. If you shift that around, if you think of Steph, like you're a younger guy, you think Steph's game is the epitome of point guard play,
yeah.
Right?
Right.
Well, then John Stockton might not even be in your top 5 if that's the way you think about point guard. So I think that's interesting too, how you just think of the position.
Yeah.
And what matters to you. What do you say is more valuable than not in terms of distributing and shooting?
Yeah, and think about this upcoming year specifically for the Warriors. Now, I know he's near the back end of his career in Chris Paul, but they are literally going to have 2 of the greatest point guards ever, and they both do it differently, and it's worked beautifully for both. And they're going to be on the same team and continuing to do it their way, but there's differences to their games.
Yeah, absolutely there are.
Yeah.
All right, coming up next, we have to get to the unwanted list. Okay. The top 2 overrated players in the NFL. I've got my list. Overrated is always a trigger word. We'll see how many people we offend with this. I'm sorry. I don't want to lump you into this.
I'm doing homework.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But my list could be highly offensive. I don't know if Jason's, yours will be too. Chances are it will be. If you throw out overrated, very well could be the case. We'll compare notes. That's next on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Need the breakdown of the latest 49er game?
Trey Lance needed to do more with what he was given. He just looked frantic. He looked panicked. He didn't look in rhythm.
Want to know what to expect from the Beam team this season?
I don't honestly know who's going to have a better record, the Warriors or the Kings. That's interesting because the Warriors did have a lot of injuries last year, but they're also old. Mm-hmm. So why wouldn't you think they're going to have injuries again this year?
Got to get that MLB fix down the stretch? Looking for articles from your favorite hosts.
For all that and more, visit SactownSports.com.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Folsom Lake Ford has trucks. The F-150s are here. Explorers, Expeditions, and a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. They're in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters, right here in Sacramento for your favorite Ford models at good, fair prices. Short on cash? Buy any new Ford with 0 down. Save big with low interest finance rates. Plus, Folsom Lake Ford is paying top dollar for all trades. We want your vehicle regardless of mileage or condition. This could be the best time to buy a new Ford. Check out the huge inventory online at FolsomLakeFord.com or stop by the dealership and see the most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall. Your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 30 years. FolsomLakeFord.com.
0 down with approved credit.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right?
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Ooh, pass me the intercom thingy.
Attention shoppers. If you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Don't pay for water, pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods.
Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
Who's ready for some Kings basketball?
Inside of Sabonis, a two-hand rip, a brilliant pass from De'Aaron Fox.
The NBA schedule is out and we can't wait for opening night at Golden One Center on Friday, October 27th when the Kings take on the Warriors. Tickets for all preseason and regular season games are on sale now. So head to kings.com/tickets to get yours. Be there live to see the Beam team in action and cheer on your Sacramento Kings this season.
Let me tell you, if you can't sense it, this place is absolutely nuts.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network. Well, the youth movement continues with the call-up of outfielder Lawrence Butler, who was drafted out of high school by the A's back in 2018. He shot through the minor league system this year, beginning in Double-A, advancing to Triple-A, where he batted a combined .284 with 15 home runs. His big league debut came on the 11th of August in Washington, and after going hitless in that game, he had hits in each of his next 3 starts. Ken Korak here, introducing you to the Xfinity 10G network. Xfinity is undergoing a multi-year network evolution, giving you a powerful connection today while building toward a faster, more reliable tomorrow. The Xfinity 10G network gives you the fastest internet with even faster speeds rolling out all the time. You also get a consistent and reliable connection when everyone's online, even during peak hours. That's a home run. If you want to learn more, go online at xfinity.com/10G.
Get ready for a night with Cole Swindell. The 2023 ACM Song of the Year winner hits Heart Health Park at Cal Expo in Sacramento, Saturday, September 9th for the CITP2 Fest. And Cole's bringing some friends like Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, Matt Stell, and more. Tickets start at $40 at CITPFest.com.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Take it on the local level. Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios. Sactown Sports. Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
Happy Monday. I'm Simone with your Sactown Sports headlines. Skal Labissiere returns to Sacramento as he has agreed to a partially guaranteed one-year deal with the Sacramento Kings, his agent shared with The Athletic. For more on this signing, hit up SactownSports.com right now. San Francisco 49ers able to lasso the Denver Broncos with the come-from-behind win with the final score of 21-20. The victory Saturday notches their first win of the preseason in part thanks to Jake Moody's late walk-off kick.
Now, set, kick, high enough, long enough, and the Niners win.
And finally, Oakland Athletics hosts the Kansas City Royals at 6:40, and you, of course, can listen along right here on Sactown Sports. I'm Simone. Those are your Sactown Sports headlines. Now back to more Sactown Sports.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sactown Sports.
I'm Brian Noe. He's Jason Ross here on Sactown Sports. There might not be a more important pressing question than this one here, Jason. Where do you stand on Pantera?
I was going to say, hey, Brian, is this Pantera? So was that Pantera? Am I correctly identifying them?
I think you just answered the question there, Jason.
I think I did. I don't stand on or stand for Pantera. I have no opinion. None. That would be you said, like, when someone says I listen to everything, Pantera would not be in my library.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man,
am I missing as a metalhead? Would you say I'm missing out?
I don't think you can say you are a metalhead.
No, I'm saying you are one. So should I
got
be?
it.
You know, like you said, some group. Like, of course, I've heard Metallica.
Yeah, you're missing out.
Okay.
You're missing out on that.
Okay.
Again, it depends on your flavor, your
Yeah.
cup of tea musically. I mean, but yeah, I would say you're missing out.
Okay.
Fun concerts back in the day. A lot of fun.
You don't
Always
do it
had a fun
anymore?
time.
Is it?
I still go, but
Okay.
it's not the same. You know, it's not the same.
Yeah.
A couple of members are dead and gone now.
Oh,
not to be too
R.I.P.
grim, but yeah, they're brothers too. The guitarist, the drummer, both gone, but they're
Wow.
back touring with
Okay.
obviously a couple other. Zach Wilde, the guitarist, remember the old guitarist for Ozzy?
Mm-hmm.
He's filling in for Dime on tour, and they're doing their thing. But I haven't seen them as that version of Pantera.
Gotcha.
If you will.
Okay.
What's the artist, like the funnest concert you've been to before? What would you say? Top of the list.
Man, top of the list. I'm thinking of like some like musical legends. I was pretty young when I went to see Bruce Springsteen in LA, and it was like a long show, but just seemed so great. The first concert here, I really wanted to see at Sacramento, the arena, was Paul McCartney. He was fabulous. So different style there. I went to like a hip hop show in Old Arco Arena that had just a bunch of different artists that I really enjoyed. Yeah, I don't know that I would label one, but again, kind of back to all sorts of different types of music. Saw Earth, Wind, and Fire with Chicago one time. The collaboration was really good. Each did their own kind of sets for a while, and then when they all came on, just so many instruments and good stuff.
Yeah, man. Pantera shows were always fun. The metal stuff is top of the list. But I saw B.B. King 4 times.
Oh, wow.
Love the blues.
4 times, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Saw Santana one time. That was a lot of fun. Definitely a lot different flavor going on there.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite guitarists of all time, Santana, is amazing.
What's the song? You said you played guitar. You let us know earlier. What song do you feel like, what's the best song you could play that you would feel comfortable if you had a small audience watching you?
Oh, man, like the most well-known one or the one that...
Or just like, you know what, I got to play something that would entertain the group because you said you didn't want to sing, but like they would all I know that song. He plays that well.
I would do mostly like older Metallica stuff.
Okay.
It's very recognizable.
Yeah.
You would hear some of those lines, like Jay played Seek and Destroy a
Right.
little bit
I heard that.
earlier on the show today. Yeah, like some of that type of stuff. Yeah, like Puppets or Battery. Or you would hear those riffs and be like, oh, yeah, I know that. Yeah, that would be recognizable.
Nice.
It's funny, too, because I have my limits. I am eclectic, don't get me wrong, but then I have my my hard no list.
Like?
A hard no. Tool is a hard no.
Okay.
Can't do Tool. Dave Matthews Band is a hard no.
Okay.
It's hard no. When I was at school, and I'm an idiot for doing this. This is, again, we talked about this earlier, where doing something based on principle can actually come back to bite you. Whenever I'd have a guitar at college, there'd be girls that'd be like, do you know any Dave Matthews Band? It would have been a chord and done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I would just say, no. Nothing.
Easier to say no.
Not playing Dave.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, yeah, I'm an idiot sometimes. What can I tell you? Brian Noe and Jason Ross with you here on Sactown Sports. So we saw Brock Purdy back in action against the Denver Broncos. Shockingly, more was made out of his performance than should have been made, in my opinion, where he was 4 for 5. He had a couple of wide open receivers, and people are drooling. Oh, this guy looks so sharp. He's ready. Back. Wow, what a sight over here. I don't know why, again, the bar is so low. If he has pole vaulted over the Mr. Irrelevant bar, I get why that was super low.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But now that he's shown that he can start for the 49ers and be competent, I don't know why it hasn't gotten to the next phase of it's going to take more than hitting wide open receivers to make me drool. Like, there are a lot of people that haven't gotten there yet.
Right. Right. And I don't know why, but I thought they, I mean, I guess the excitement must be, look, he hasn't played a game in regular action. I know it's not regular season, but against another team like that for us to see since the NFC Championship game, that was significant enough surgery. But I mean, 4 or 5 is great, but I don't know that we saw any life-changing experiences in that 4 or 5.
Yeah. No, nothing.
Couple of dump offs to Debo. Debo did some good work. A nice slant to IU. I mean, it's fine. Everything was fine.
And that's where we shift it to the most overrated list.
Okay.
I've got a list of 2. I know that's a weird list.
A very small list, Brian.
Weird number.
Yeah.
It's like 2 stand out more than any.
Okay.
And I'm like, why overthink it and get to 3?
Okay. Less is more.
Yeah. So I went with my top 2 most overrated players in the league. Number 1, Lamar Jackson. Number 2, Brock Purdy.
Oh, come on. Is he even rated?
Yes, he's highly rated. That's why
highly rated.
Yes, the second most overrated quarterback in all of player in all of football. I'll give my rationale here.
Okay.
Let's start with this. What does overrated mean? This is a very important part of this. Overrated doesn't mean they can't play. Overrated means the mainstream opinion is rosier than the reality. That's what overrated means. I'm not telling you Lamar Jackson can't play,
right?
Because he clearly can. I'm telling you that the reality doesn't match the flowery words.
Okay.
That's what I'm telling you. So for Lamar Jackson, his numbers have been down the last 2 years. His injuries have been up. He's missed 11 games the last 2 years, including the playoff game against the Bengals that they almost won. They probably would have won had he been out there, but he wasn't. And then he also, the last 2 years, Jason, 33 touchdowns, 20 interceptions. You know who has 34 touchdowns and 20 interceptions the last 2 years? That would be Ryan Tannehill. Okay? That's the cul-de-sac that Lamar Jackson is living on right now.
Mail doesn't even get delivered there.
Yes, and it was a whole offseason of the league is borderline racist for him not getting a fully guaranteed contract a la Deshaun Watson. It's freaking insane. So, yeah, I've got Lamar at the top of the list, and Brock Purdy, he's number 2 on the list, where, again, the drool, I mean, the mop-up duty to just mop up the drool, the spittle that is just falling from the mouths of so many people. Just, Brock Purdy. The way he hit Ayuk, who was wide open there, that was unbelievable. This guy is the epitome of a system quarterback, and people are making him out to be like the second coming of Joe Montana. It's freaking insane. It's insane. Over 8 games, they're acting like this guy is a year 5 starter that's, got, I don't know, 70 games under his belt or something. He's got 8. Yeah, like 7.5, really. I don't know why people are so convinced. So, yeah, I go Lamar and Purdy, 1-2 on the all overrated list.
Okay. Based on, and I like the way you described the criteria because it's right. I mean, when you're doing this, obviously you have to give some negative connotation, but it's not saying they're bums, they're washed, they shouldn't be in the league. These guys are probably getting more flowers than they should. So I've got 3. So I extended my list. I did extra credit.
Like that.
All right. So I think in that clear category that you're saying where too much national and probably local attention for their markets for this guy for what they produce, one would be Odell Beckham. To me.
Yeah.
I feel like Jalen Ramsey gets that treatment as well. And then
Okay.
this one might be, I want more, and I think he's really, really good, but I think he gets into a category that I don't think he's there yet, in my opinion, and I'm probably wrong on this one, but I'm going to do it anyway. Justin Herbert.
You go Herbert.
I think he's incredible. Again, this is not to slight him, but I think where he gets put in, like he gets put in that elite QB class. He's basically 500 in his career, and he's just started. He's 3 years in. I need some playoff experience. He got there last year, had an epic playoff loss. His stats are, I mean, if we go stats, he's out of this world. But I just, Rodgers made teams better. Russell Wilson's made teams better. Brady and all these other guys. And he's got a good team around him. And he's 25-24. I need more. His stats are gaudy, but I think it's coming. But I think the attention he gets is a little bit higher. Like Burrow's won more. Some of these other guys have won more than him. And I think
I like your list. Yeah.
So,
your list is interesting. I want to react to your list.
Okay.
Did I say that right? React to your list. I might have.
Did you put something else in there?
Relaxed. I might have said.
You know
that.
what?
I'm not sure.
I think it's worth relaxing to.
You say so many words on a show.
Yes.
There's a word where I'm like, why did that sound weird? Probably because it was. I probably said the wrong word. I'm not even sure what I said, but I'll react or relax or something to your list over here because I like what you're saying here, but I want to add a couple of layers, if you will.
Okay, and I will.
Okay, nice. Brian Noe, Jason Ross with you here at Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Will the 49ers regret letting Robbie Gould walk this offseason and drafting Jake Moody?
If you can get in a field goal range, see the rookie Jake Moody replacing Robbie Gould at the kicker spot.
Or was it just preseason jitters for the rookie kicker?
Moody is high enough, long enough, and no good. He pulled it left.
Tune in to find out on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Yeah, 49ers all the way. Let's go Niners. Yeah!
Hey, you want to be around people having a great time? You need to come check out Capital Casino, offering the most varieties of table games in the region in the friendliest environment. Come for the food, which is awesome, of course, and stay and play. Conveniently located in downtown Sacramento at 411 North 16th Street, right there in downtown Sacramento for over 20 years. Cap Casino, best food, best games, and of course, the best action. And please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Don't wait. The giant summer sale ends soon at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. We make buying a new Honda easy and stress-free. Pre-order online or in person today. We'll be there to help you every step of the way. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda. Yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sactown Sports.
Sports. I'm Brian Noe. He's Jason Ross. Again, further evidence. I just do what Jay Johnson says. Phillies up 5-2.
Thank you to Bryce Harper.
Yeah, Bryce Harper, a little inside the park home run. How many TVs you got over there in the studio?
Legally 2. I got everything bootleg in here. I don't even know what I'm doing. Yeah. Am I saying that over the air? My fault. Just 2, Brian.
I got to share a brief story with you. This is stupid, but it's funny. So I was working in Portland, and so the show was broadcast on a TV station, NBC Sports Northwest. One of my buddies lived in Phoenix, and he's like, hey, what station are you on? I'm like, I'm pretty sure you don't get it, man. He's like, I think I do. I get a lot of channels. And I told him next day, he's like, yeah, I saw you, man. I got I'm like, how do you have that channel from Portland in Phoenix?
Right.
And then he's like, oh, I get every pay-per-view event. I get everything. It's like $15. I think it's legal.
No.
I'm like, I think that's the definition of illegal, man.
Exactly. Good for him.
Yeah, but he had it. He had the show over there.
That's
So,
cool. That's
props to you.
resourceful.
Yeah, having that in the studio. That's great. Okay, so your list of the most overrated NFL players. Now, was this in order 1, 2, 3?
No, I just made the list. So I mentioned
any
Odell Beckham, Jalen Ramsey, Justin Herbert. I also just had an outlier there. I had Darren Waller on there.
Okay.
But I didn't feel as strongly about that one.
Yeah, it's weird because, listen, reputations ebb and flow, you know? And so with Odell Beckham Jr., he's still a rock star. He's thought of as a rock star.
Correct.
He's talked about as if he's a rock star. And production-wise, he might not be a rock star anymore, right? To your point.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think you would make a good case that he's overrated.
Not a bum at all. Has great like back to what we were talking about earlier. Highlights, you may not find any better, but there's more to your game than just highlights.
Jalen Ramsey, now with my Fins.
I know. I hit a
does
nerve.
Cloud my judgment a little bit. No, he's a really good cornerback.
Uh-huh.
But for being a high-end guy, he gets beaten more than you would want.
He does, and I feel like that's if I say name some, just to not even maybe a mid to average follower of the NFL, name a corner or a safety, someone in the back end of the defense, and I think his name would come up because that's a name they've heard, and you'd think, oh, he's by far the best. He's good, but I think he gets burned a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Herbert's interesting.
Yeah, did I push that one? I don't know. My rationale was, look, the stats are there, and maybe this is the year he just totally blows up because it's really not even about stats. I just want a little more. I want a better win-loss percentage for my QB.
Yeah. No, I don't think you're wrong. I think I'm more thinking about the mainstream opinion of Herbert.
Mm-hmm.
So I start with that. Like, what's the mainstream opinion of Herbert? It's mixed.
Oh, is it?
I do think so, because there
Okay.
are some people that say, oh, this guy is unbelievable. Ryan Harris, remember the former offensive lineman with the Broncos?
Yes.
He went on record saying Herbert's the best quarterback I've ever seen.
Wow.
And they were like, wait a minute, you played with Peyton Manning. He's like, oh, yeah, better than him.
Yeah. I mean, he has all the looks. I'm not even questioning any of his ability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. With Herbert, it's weird. Like some of these offseason lists, he's top 5. He's listed ahead of Jalen Hurts, and so I could see saying, it's a bit too much. He's overrated in that regard. But it swings the other way, too. That loss against Jacksonville when they're up 27-0, I was surprised Herbert took as many arrows as he did for that loss, where I'm like, you're up 27-0. Play some defense.
Exactly.
Like that's not a Herbert loss, but he took a lot of flack for that. And so that's where I say it's a bit of a mixed bag with how he's thought of.
Yeah. I guess I go even the year before. Now it's year 2 for him. It's the week 17 or 18. I can't remember how it was then, but the Raiders-Chargers game, basically winner gets in. Raiders got it done. They advanced to the playoffs. Herbert and the everybody loves Herbert kind of story. I'm like, well, he's great, but he didn't get that team into the postseason.
Yeah, right. I think it's gotten to the point with Herbert where he's highly thought of, but the honeymoon is over.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. And again, I think he may be getting ready to just take off and go out of this world because I bet all but about 5 or 6 teams would say, yeah, we can upgrade with Justin Herbert on our team. I think everyone, the few teams that would go, we've got a guy we're very comfortable with. He would help everybody. But like I said, again, I want to see a few more wins from him.
I think that's fair. And I think that the honeymoon phase has gone from, man, this guy, he's a player.
Yeah.
To where are the playoff wins, dude?
Right.
Like, that seems to be the general way it's talked about. That's where I wonder if you do a Herbert Purdy type thing, just in terms of the honeymoon.
Yeah.
I wonder how far away we are from the honeymoon being over with Purdy, where we say, dude, where's the deep playoff run?
Yeah.
Where's the this? Where's the that? You know what I mean? Like, it's in the honeymoon phase right now. That doesn't last forever.
No, it doesn't. And I think the difference that Herbert can brag about, well, he wouldn't do it, but the defenders would say, look at these stats. I mean, who's had a better first 3 years? And he's got some of the numbers to support it. Purdy has had a good run, but I don't think he's not going to be this high volume. I don't think 350, 4 touchdown pass guy per game. I think he's going to kind of get it done with what is a really good team around him.
Yeah, man, it's so funny how reputations can change from year to year. There are a couple of guys that it's just constant. The top end guys can lose big playoff games and still not take like Joe Burrow.
Right.
Lost a playoff game against the Chiefs. It's not like his reputation took any hit whatsoever.
Yeah.
It can happen, but from year to year, reputations change a lot. Think about Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Rodgers went from a back-to-back MVP to last season and like, this freaking guy took a big-time step backward and yada, yada. And I wonder whose reputations are going to greatly go forward and greatly go backwards.
Yeah, and then the guys that kind of hover around that middle range, like can flirt with, Kirk Cousins is a guy that always seems to be would almost be like the middle of the league. Yeah. But if he has a year like he did last year, it's like, oh, he's probably a top 13, top 12. You're like, yeah, he had a good year. And then, Matt Ryan was a guy that was up there. And then, boy, at the end, you're like, oh, he fell apart. Tannehill would creep up there, and he's a guy that can move. So, yeah, there's some guys that move up, and then Carr has been up as a runner-up MVP candidate to a guy that's, not kept by the Raiders and has a second home. It does change pretty quickly.
There are a couple of guys that no matter what they do in the regular season, it's not going to change their reputation.
Yeah.
Right. Kirk Cousins, until he wins big in the playoffs, he's always going to be thought of the same way. He put up numbers last year.
Yep.
Didn't do anything for his reputation. You know?
Does Dak have to do that?
I think because Dak came off of such a bad season and because he plays for the Dallas Cowboys, if he just started lighting it up this season, that would do a lot for his reputation.
Yeah.
I think it's a Cowboys-Vikings thing. It's just not the same thing.
Yeah.
I think his reputation could improve if he steps it up in the regular season, but we all know it ultimately comes down to the playoffs.
For sure.
He's in that playoff bracket as well.
Yeah.
I think that it's fair to say Kirk, Derek Carr, their reputations aren't greatly changing outside of playoff success. And I think Dak is not quite the same. He could get a boost regular season wise, but ultimately it's playoff time. I think there'd be a lot of people saying, oh, Dak's leading the league in touchdown passes. Great. Wake me when it's playoff time.
Yeah. I feel like there's a couple guys that have a chance to vault up. Like if Trevor Lawrence has a big year, Deshaun Watson, because he was up there. Obviously, we understand, missing time and everything that self-inflicted that he went through. But, I mean, the last full season he played, he had some ridiculous numbers with the Houston Texans. So, I feel like he has a chance if he reaches that ability again to remind us all how good he is.
Yeah, he very well could. You know what's crazy is last season seems so long ago. I was just looking at quarterback stats right here, and I saw Matt Ryan listed. And
as
I'm like,
what?
Matt Ryan, am I on the right year? 2022? Oh, yeah. Like, Matt Ryan was there with the Indianapolis Colts. 2022 feels like 5 years ago right now.
Yeah.
You feel like that?
Yeah, for that team specifically in a few of these games. I think I saw that where the Colts, I think it's been 5 consecutive years. I think it's the Colts. There was another team that has had a different leading passer in 5 straight years.
Oh, wow. Yeah, interesting. I know the Colts, this is the 7th straight year they've had a different week 1 starting quarterback.
That's brutal.
Which is brutal.
After going through that run of Manning to Luck. And then, think about that too. Like, where would they be? I mean, Luck would still be in that probably sweet spot of his prime.
Oh, yeah, he would. He would. That's crazy. That was such a blow for the organization.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. All right, coming up next. Was this a gift or was this just more so an ego stroke? We'll get to that. I'm Brian Noe. He's Jason Ross. It's Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
It's the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa. Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 8 a.m. on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. Golf to Go. Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 8 a.m. on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Bonnie.
I'm Mark Finan in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. We'll have a threat of showers and thunderstorms all the way into the early evening tonight. Overnight, the clouds will clear. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny with highs in the low 90s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
It's been said an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And when it comes to a nice, cool summer, it's so true. Right now, get a complete air conditioner tune-up for just $79. Bonnie. Plumbing, sewer, electrical, heating, and air. Bonnie.com. Some restrictions apply. License 696355.
Heart failure, carpal tunnel syndrome, shortness of breath, stomach issues, lower back pain. How does it all add up? If you have heart failure and any of those seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, it's time to talk with your cardiologist and get the full picture. They may add up to transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy. ATTR-CM is a rare and underdiagnosed disease. Recognize the signs and discuss them with your doctor soon. Learn more at connectwithyourheart.com. That's connectwithyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
When the world's best players get fitted for new golf clubs, they want to see their ball flight outdoors. And why should you settle for any less? The Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is the area's unquestioned leader in delivering a new age of golf club fitting to Northern California. With 14 trained, skilled professionals to show you how to hit the ball farther and straighter, satisfied customers have increased their yardage, improved their games, and gained confidence. Call 916-808-2531 to get started. That's 808-2531 for longer, straighter drives.
I like daffodils, tulips, the big dinner plate dahlias. I loved being in the garden, but I wasn't going to be able to because I couldn't not only walk, but I couldn't really stand on my foot without being in pain. It was excruciating. So my husband said, let's go to the Good Feet store.
For over 20 years, we've helped people like Terry live the life they love without letting their feet get in the way.
This nice young man said, I think I can help you. He got the arch supports and I was fitted. And I kept walking back and forth across the store. And I looked at my husband and burst into tears because it was the first time in a year that I have not had any pain in my foot. I have had no pain since the day I bought them. Now I can do whatever I want. There isn't any place on my property that doesn't have flowers blooming 365 days a year. I still can't believe it. My name is Terry, and that's my Good Feet story.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
The Good Feet store. Come in now for a free arch support fitting and test walk.
2 years ago, Americans watched in horror as a crisis unfolded at the Kabul airport.
There's desperation and anguish.
More than 80,000 Afghans have since arrived in America, but this story is still unfolding. I'm Andrea Martin. In my new podcast, Stranger Becomes Neighbor, we'll find out what happens to these new arrivals in our communities. Who would help our newest neighbors? Follow us at kslpodcast.com, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you listen.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines. Happy Monday. I'm Simone with your Sactown Sports headlines. Scalabissiere returns to Sacramento as he has agreed to a partially guaranteed one-year deal with the Sacramento Kings, his agent shared with The Athletic. For more on this signing, hit up SactownSports.com right now. San Francisco 49ers able to lasso the Denver Broncos with the come-from-behind win with the final score of 21-20. The victory Saturday notches their first win of the preseason in part thanks to Jake Moody's late walk-off kick.
Snap, set, kick, high enough, long enough, and the Niners win!
And finally, Oakland Athletics host the Kansas City Royals at 6:40, and you, of course, can listen along right here on Sactown Sports. I'm Simone. Those are your Sactown Sports headlines. Now back to more Sactown Sports.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sactown Sports.
Brian Noe, he's chasing Ross here on Sactown Sports. Man, I love this. So there's this baseball story. Pete Alonso, you see from the Mets, he kind of had a brain freeze, if you will. So a Cardinals shortstop got his first major league hit. And so instead of saving the baseball, Pete Alonso just chucked it into the crowd. And he felt terrible. He's like, I'm sorry, man. He apologized like crazy to this young player. The Cardinals player is Mason Wynn.
Okay.
First big league hit for Mason Wynn. So you got Pete Alonso's like, man, I'm sorry, dude. He made it to second base, and he's apologizing more. I'm really sorry about that. Post-game press conference apologizing. Lots of apologies from Pete Alonso. So he sweetened the deal here a little bit. This is what he did, Jason. So he got Mason Wynn an autographed bat and a bottle of tequila.
Okay. Wonder which one Wynn appreciated more.
I don't know, but the autographed bat
of Pete
kills
Alonso.
me. Yes. Pete's like, all right, I got to do something.
I screwed up. Let me sign this bat. They couldn't get the ball back. Sometimes they can sweeten the deal to the fans.
They did. Yeah.
Okay, good.
I don't know about you. That's the other part of this. If they come to me and they're like, hey, can we have the first hit ball? What's it worth?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying, oh, yeah, sure. I get a free t-shirt. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Sign me up. No, man. Like, these people that just give baseballs back, hey, they can do whatever they want. I wouldn't. I'd be like, you got to give me something of note for me to just give you this ball back.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I feel like I've not aged in reverse, because I feel like as you get older, maybe there's more like, oh, the money or these valuables don't mean as much to me. But there was a time where I'm like, oh, if I caught the home run ball, I'm throwing that back for sure. Like, that's theirs. That's what they want. But then you're like, then you start to see the dollar signs. And I was just saying, Brian, like, if I won the lottery, I'm coming to work the next day. Now I'm thinking, I think I'm done. I'm good. I'm good.
I just go back to, and listen, until you're in that situation,
true,
you don't know how exactly you're going to react. It might feel a lot different than you're anticipating.
Yeah.
I'll put it that. You might still do the same thing.
That's true. So do you have a favorite, let's do it to stick to baseball since we're baseball, favorite team or player if they're on that same team?
Well, I've been a St. Louis Cardinals guy. My dad is from that area.
Makes sense.
Yeah, he's just outside of St. Louis from Alton, Illinois.
So do you love Arenado or Goldschmidt right now, or any of those guys?
I love both those guys.
Okay.
I was a big Pujols guy.
Okay, so
Love
that's a good
Pujols.
one. So last year, Albert, you're at the game, let's say, and you catch home. And he hit 700 last year, right? Yeah, he gets 700.
Yeah. Yep.
As a Cardinal, it was a great story. So you catch that. What are you doing? Like, that's one of your heroes. That's a guy you probably would like to meet. Like, how do you play that out if you catch home run number 700?
Pay me.
Even if it's Albert, you just want the Cardinals to pay you.
Whoever, someone's paying me. I don't know if
You
it's
don't wanna
Albert,
meet
the
Albert?
Cardinals. It's that'd be nice, but that's not worth
That
what I
cash will
could
spend?
get. Yeah, it's like, I'm not trying to be that guy, but this is a business
It's a business deal.
proposition here. It's a bad business move for me just to give this ball to you when you have more than enough means of giving me a fair deal for it.
Would you have any idea? I mean, I know we've seen some of these things. This ball sold for whatever at auction. I wouldn't even know where to start. Like, when you say pay me, I'll give this back to you for boom. How much? I don't even know what that. I would just feel so weird to say $150,000. What?
I'd start big. I'd be like $9 million. I don't know. We'll go
Yeah.
from there.
Right.
But
by the end, you're like $40. Thanks.
yeah, this happened to me. There was a girl I worked with in Portland. Her husband caught the Aaron Judge 62 home run ball
in Texas.
In Texas,
Really?
she got a job in Dallas.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's right. So I was gonna say, now I remember that she was on air somewhere in Dallas. Okay,
Yeah,
you worked with her before.
Yeah, I worked with her in Portland. Then she got a job in Dallas, and she's like, she responded to this video of like this guy walking with the ball
Mm-hmm.
and the ushers are around him and the security. And she's like, excuse me, that's my husband.
Wow.
And that ball was worth, gosh, I don't know if they got $1 million for it or something like that.
So they did get paid. I couldn't remember what happened with that one.
There was some story. I wish I could remember. I'm doing a bad job of telling you the exact story off the top of my head, but they were offered a good amount of money and turned it down because they thought they would get more, and they
Wow.
actually got way less.
Yeah.
So sometimes that happens. But it was probably 7 figures.
Yeah.
And more than like an Aaron Judge signed jersey.
Right.
Or whatever they would give.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could they get you on other things? They'll go like, hey, Brian, we got, I'm sure they'll give you a ton of souvenirs and all that, but like whether it's season ticket, like if you talk about season tickets for a lifetime or something like that, now that's a pretty sweet pot.
Nah.
Not enough.
Not enough.
Man, you drive a hard bargain.
Not enough because I got to look at
Pete Alonso signed bat and tequila.
I just love that. That's what Pete went with.
Yeah.
That is the old Derek Jeter gift basket.
Gift bag with a ball. Yeah.
He says a wives' tale. I don't know.
Too many people have said, well, I don't know if that's true, but yeah, it feels like that story's been around. Too good to be true, probably.
I think we just want it to be true.
Yeah. It feels believable. Feels like, yeah, hey, take this on your way out.
But the Pete Alonso thing is real.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was like, I screwed up to try to make up for my wrongs here. Let me sign a bat for the kid.
Yeah. Well, and there's got to be – sometimes I wonder if the organizations are doing it for the assumption, oh, Aaron Judge is going to want this ball. I don't know. I mean, does he? I think I would want my first hit. And maybe if I hit a record-setting home run maybe or did a perfect game, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what I would want as an athlete like that.
That's true. Think about that, too. If you just gave the ball back, assuming the guy would really want it, if it's this historic home run or whatever it is, and they're just kind of like, whatever, that's cool, I guess. You just gave away maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's just, I would advise against
it.
That
may not mean as much to the team or the organization or the player, but you get out there into that open market of collectibles and you're like, who wants said ball? I've got it. Let's start or go to one of those auctions and boom, there's your money.
I'd figure it out.
Yes.
I really don't know where to go either.
I'll take the night to think about this. Let me get to some advisors and see what they say, and then we'll talk tomorrow.
Yeah, and listen, the young player did get that original ball back.
That's good.
So the usher went over there, and it was a quick exchange. It was like, can we have the ball? Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, go Cardinals.
You ever caught a ball at a game?
Never. Have you?
One foul ball, and to be honest, I hadn't really been that close. And it was just a random game I went to in New York one time, the New York Mets at Old Shea Stadium. Just caught a ball that tipped off someone else. I was just sitting there and I didn't really put much effort. It just bounced way to my left and it just came right in front of my face and just snagged it.
Very nice. Yeah. There was one at a minor league game a long time ago. I didn't catch it, but it's empty enough where it rattles around near you. And that's not the same as catching
You just picked it up.
Yeah, that's not nearly as cool as catching one. I feel like some of these videos, it's different now that the nets are finally up.
Yes.
There was one epic story with the Houston Astros where it was a guy and his girl, they're watching a game, and there's this screaming line drive headed right for them, and the guy just covers himself.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
Braces for impact and is like, oh.
Protect myself.
The girl was like, what's that? Where's my knight in shining armor when I need you? You just covered up like not
here.
In the fetal position.
Yeah. That might have been the last date too.
Could have been, man.
Yeah.
Hey, how about this too? If we shift to hoops. So I love this with Damian Lillard. So the league put out the memo of, hey, you can't communicate to teams that you might not render your services should you be traded to someone other than the Miami Heat, right? I'm paraphrasing, but that's what they said. You can't just put it out there that you might not make good if you're traded to a team. That's right. And so with that in mind, Dame, he reposted a story on his Instagram that said, Miami is waiting for you and your music. So he just reposted that. If you're the NBA, you don't love this, obviously, but he's sort of calling your bluff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's probably not having the NBA in mind when he does this. He's probably like, oh, this is kind of cool, whatever. And maybe, hopefully, orchestrating something. But the NBA, it's one thing to talk tough. It's another thing to back it up.
Right. And this goes down the exact line of influence, right, through social media. And, I mean, Dame wants this to happen so badly. I think Miami wants it to happen. Portland probably does, but they want the right deal. It just feels like we're going to get there, Brian, but what's taking so long?
Well, yeah, it doesn't sound like Portland's too into Tyler Hero.
Right.
It's a big part of it.
Yeah. And do they have to get another team involved?
Yeah.
And maybe that's the case. That makes it a little more convoluted, but I just can't imagine them starting the year with Dame there. And you probably had a chance to know him better, but just the little bit I have, he doesn't seem like a guy that
I think he would be true to himself, true to the team, and show up and compete. But I don't think that's what anybody really wants.
Right. He would not harden it.
No,
I'd put it
he
that
never
way.
phones it in, I don't think.
Remember Fat James Harden
Yes.
a couple of years ago with the Rockets, where he's just dogging it out
Yeah.
there, trying to force his way out. That's not Dame. If he got traded somewhere besides Miami,
Yeah.
he doesn't know how to downshift.
Yeah.
I mean that as a compliment.
Right.
Like, that dude, he's a warrior, man. He's a gamer.
Yeah. Well,
But this is the next maybe realm of not only players saying I want to be traded, but I want to be traded specifically there.
Right.
You know, like this is a big off season as far as that goes.
Yeah, and at least it's feels a little bit better. Like I haven't heard a lot of people complaining about dream teams or joining super teams or whatever. And it's been a very good team, and Jimmy and Bam and Dame would be lethal, but it doesn't feel like it's an unfair situation. And I like that Dame. That's where he's interested. It's been different, and I hope it happens for him. I'm a big fan of Dame Lillard.
I am too. It's interesting, right, man? Like, this could be the best deal for Portland, sending him to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to look like they just caved.
Yeah.
If that's where they send him. They're in an awkward spot.
Yeah, because it makes sense. I mean, I feel like they finally got there. Like, look, they drafted Scoot. They've got some young players. I didn't quite understand the philosophy of keeping Jeremy Grant. Not that he's super old, but it's like I felt like they could have done a full cleanse and a restart, but they're kind of doing it here, and it makes sense to get what you can in return and just have a new squad. I mean, thank you, Dame. You were great. You're legendary. You're one of the best players, maybe the best we've ever had in this organization. But thank you, and we'll move on, and you'll be loved every time you come back, and this is probably what's best for us.
Yeah. All right, coming up next, getting to know. We're going to have some fun with that, comparing notes, all that kind of good stuff. I'm Brian Noe. He's Jason Ross. Keep it locked right here. Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
The first ever NBA in-season tournament schedule is out, and our Kings have some great matchups, including national TV games against the Spurs and Warriors.
And Sacramento has won. They have risen to the occasion. And let me tell you, if you can't sense it, this place is absolutely nuts.
Listen to every game on the home of the Kings, Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. Much like you probably, my kids are going back to school next week. What does that mean? It means end of summer blowout on all systems with American Energy Heating and Air right now. $2,500 off full systems, with systems as low as $34 a week. And American Energy Heat and Air offering a free Wi-Fi thermostat on high-efficiency units. As always, they're making the uncomfortable comfortable, but get in right now. This limited offer expires August 30th. You can call today to schedule your appointment at 916-520-9990. Better Business Bureau A+ rating. 1981 is when they started serving the greater Sacramento area. They are Sacramento's complete heating and cooling company and second opinion partner with heating, cooling, service, tune-ups, installations, and more. American Energy Heating and Air, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Dad, I don't feel good.
I'll grab the Vicks DayQuil Kids Honey.
Isn't DayQuil just for parents?
Actually, Vicks DayQuil Kids Honey is just for kids, specially designed to treat kids' most bothersome cold symptoms quickly with a honeylicious tasting flavor kids like.
You know what else kids like?
DayQuil Kids Honey first, then video games.
Deal.
Vicks DayQuil Kids Honey. The kids' honeylicious daytime coughing, congestion, stuffy head, stuffy nose medicine. Safe for ages 6+.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa.
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
if these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sactown Sports.
Welcome back at Sactown Sports. I'm Brian Noe. He's Jason Ross. Okay, so I feel like we got to get to know you even better here before we close on
How about
out
know
here.
you? We get to know Brian.
Oh, yeah, we can do both.
Okay.
Get to know Noe.
Yes.
Get to know Jason.
Yeah.
You know? Totally fine. I want to know the team that you hate the most above all others in sports. Who's at the top of the list?
That is the easiest question of the day. You ready for this one?
I'm ready.
The USC Trojans.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Just, it's one of those things as a UCLA fan that you root for your team first, but the second joy is if that other team loses. Yeah.
Absolutely it is.
Yes.
Listen, I'm a Notre Dame football guy.
Oh, so you can't like them?
Fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. We share that in common.
I hate Michigan way more.
Why?
Because it's a regional thing. Like,
Okay.
heaven forbid if Notre Dame lost to Michigan. South Bend, believe it or not, is crawling with Michigan fans. So some of my buddies, it was the worst thing ever if they lost to Michigan. Terrible. So, yeah.
Is that your number one? Is that your number one hate or venom team?
It isn't. In college football, it is.
Okay.
But at the very top of my list is the Chicago Cubs.
America's lovable team. You hate the Cubs.
Gosh, I hate them so much.
What is it about the Cubs? Where does this hate come from, Brian?
It's mostly the fan base. And listen, I've got some of my best friends are Cub fans. I don't know what happened.
Why
with
are they
that.
still friends?
Exactly. I should have deleted them a long time ago. But I don't have a problem with optimism. It's just utterly drunk optimism.
Just
delusional where they win the first two games. This is going to be our year. And it's like, guys, no, you're going to win 82 games,
How did
It's
you
that
do
type of
in, what was it, 2016, 15 when they won it?
Terrible.
That was a rough year for you.
I'll tell you what, the Bartman game, now that was awesome. I remember watching the game and calling my dad after that whole thing, like, that was unbelievable. That was great. Are you kidding me?
Bartman's a hero in your house.
Oh, I'm surprised I don't have a Bartman fathead in the living room or something like that. Okay. You want me to throw something at you?
Sure.
Okay. Stephen A. Smith said something interesting a couple of days ago where he said the Kwame Brown rant was something he regretted. He called him a bona fide scrub. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything in your mostly sports radio career? You're not going to dog someone out doing a game like that, most likely, right?
Yeah.
But is there anything in your sports radio career that would compare to that where you're like, I took it a little bit too far?
Man. I don't have anything that I can think of at the top. Our listeners could remind me of some. I don't. But I'm going to think on that. Do you have one?
There's nothing that is at the top of my list.
I mean, I've
that
had
can
bad
think of right away.
predictions.
Yeah.
I'm like, what was I thinking there?
Oh,
But
I have plenty of bad predictions. But I don't know, like, that's almost a personal shot.
Right.
I have, to be fair, this offseason, I've called Bryce Young a Smurf throughout most of the year. And I played the la, 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 la.
Yeah.
Played that often.
You
Some
dug in
people
on
don't
that
like
one.
that. Like, but he's undersized. That's all. Durability issues.
Yeah.
That's about as personal, I think, as I've gotten.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
yeah, plenty of bad predictions. Plenty.
Okay.
My worst one, I'll tell you real fast. One year I had the Falcons meeting the Texans. This was years ago, and both were supposed to be really good.
Okay.
And they combined to win 6 games.
Hey,
Combined, they weren't even a playoff
oh,
team.
man. I was thinking Falcons. Was that the year they made it? No, not that year, right?
No, not that year. I don't know what year it was, but someone went 4-12. Someone went 2-14. That probably is my worst prediction.
Who is, do you have one, a player, coach, whatever, that you were maybe most wrong on, one way or the other, in a good way or a bad way? As far as they excelled past what you thought, or like you thought they wouldn't be anyone? Yeah.
I'll give you one, and this is very recent. This jerk made me look terrible. I said before last season, Andy Reid is the most overrated head coach in NFL history. And before last season, I had a good argument.
Right.
He's won all these regular season games. He has one Super Bowl. He lost all these NFC championship games. It's like, where are the rings?
Yeah.
If we're talking about this with quarterbacks and that's the standard, why aren't we holding Andy Reid to the same standard?
Yeah.
He's worked with McNabb. He's got Mahomes. He's got one ring. And then the big jerk went out there and won another ring.
The big jerk.
Bad timing.
Yeah.
My
worst, and this I could now, I told you already I'm a UCLA fan. This might come down, someone hearing it going, you were a homer. I feel like I've been more critical of their players because I see all their games and mostly all the games. I think I saw every snap of every game that Josh Rosen ever played. And
man.
I would have just about guaranteed not only like one of the best quarterbacks in the league, I thought he was going to be a Hall of Famer. Like I thought he was so good. He was going to be even better in the pros with better talent. I thought he went too late at 10 or wherever he went. I'm like, they missed. He's going to be incredible. And now, Brian, I think he's been on, I don't even know if he's on a training camp team, but he was like on 6 teams. Like maybe one team can be wrong, but 6 aren't. So yeah, I definitely missed on that one.
It's crazy, isn't it? Where I tongue-in-cheek called him Cleated Jesus. Because the hype was unbelievable.
And that might have been all from me.
Yeah, maybe. But I didn't think he was going to be that bad.
Yeah.
The one, I can't say I'm super wrong. I wasn't high on Herbert at all.
Okay.
I watched all of his games at Oregon.
Yeah.
Nothing special.
Right.
And maybe it's how he was utilized. Mario Cristobal was very, very conservative at the time. But you would hear time and time again for Herbert, it was like, he doesn't have any receivers because they would compare him to Tua, who had a who's who of receivers. He doesn't have any receivers. I'm like, he's got guys that are open at times, okay? Not everyone is covered all the time. And yet he's been really good so far.
Yeah.
Much better than I thought he would be.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this real fast. As a Dolphins fan, I was pleading with the football gods, please let it not be Herbert.
Interesting.
I wanted Tua all day.
Now, would you switch it?
I mean, the first 2 years, clearly, yes. But with this last year included, I still would because of the durability issues. Tua definitely closed the gap right there. But, man, those first 2 seasons, I'm like, wow, what have I done? You know?
Yeah.
Okay, let me know the mainstream food that you are raging against.
Against?
Yes. What's something that's a lot of people are fond of that you're not down with?
Well, and this is going to be a little bit on a technicality because I think a lot of people, or for my reasoning, would be shellfish related, like allergies, but like sushi. I think a lot of people, let's go sushi. I don't, because part of it is there's a lot of shellfish in there. And you can get it without it. I get, but I just have stayed away.
Dude, we have bonded today, Jason.
Are we on the same page?
We have broken virtual bread.
Okay.
Is what we've done.
Let's go get sushi.
Let's not. Let's go get something else.
Exactly. So you don't do it?
I don't either, man. I lost a bet and had to try it. I hated it.
So why weren't you trying it? Why weren't you eating it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I just never felt the need. I'm very simplistic with food.
Yeah.
I typically go back to the well over and over again.
Yeah.
It's like, I love steak. I'm going to go get a steak tonight. I love chicken. I'm going to go get chicken tonight. I don't do a ton of exploring. And so I had tried sushi and I tried it and I'm like, this is why I never tried it.
I'm with you on that one. I'm good. I'm glad we got to the same spot there, Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got some love for metal. You dislike sushi.
Yeah.
You've got some wrong predictions. It's kind of like Training Day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With Denzel, he's telling Ethan Hawke, he's like, for anybody to trust you in this business, you got to have a little dirt on you.
Yeah.
I think you got to have some wrong predictions for me to trust you.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. Because you don't want, you got to have some flaws there. How about in our last minute or so, best, like what would be a movie you just, if it's on, you're watching all the time, like a rewatchable, what's one of your favorite of those?
Training Day.
Okay, so you just referenced it. Okay.
Yeah, love Training Day. I could watch that 20 days in a row.
So more action over comedy.
I love comedies too.
Like what's a great comedy to you?
Hangover.
Perfect.
The Hangover would be.
And I think that holds up. I think it's just a good script too, by the way. And it's funny, but I mean, it's just a good storyline.
It really is. Yeah. It doesn't get old. Anytime I see it, it doesn't get old.
And I will say this, I think Hangover 2 and Hangover 3 don't get as much pub. I think if they were done in different orders, like Hangover was just so fresh and new, and we hadn't really seen anything like that. The other two are more are very similar to it, but I think had they been in first, they would have been thought of pretty highly.
I like 3 a lot.
Yeah.
Not big on 2.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, 10-2 Phillies.
I know that Jay Johnson.
He knows his
coming through
stuff.
in flying colors right there, man. Did a tremendous job.
Yep.
Okay. Well, hey, man, it was a pleasure hanging with you.
Yes.
Jason.
Thank you very much, Brian. I enjoyed myself.
Tremendous job. We'll catch you tomorrow. Sactown Sports, SactownSports.com. By the way, how about this before we get out of here? Ravens, the winning streak. Does it end tonight? They're up 7-3. Washington had their starting quarterback, their QB1, Sam Howell, in there. I don't know how much more playing time he has, but does the dream die tonight?
Better not.
For
I've
the
got
Ravens.
Everything I own on the Ravens.
Everything on the win streak going to 25.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody have a great evening. Shout out to Jay Johnson, lining my pockets with cash, predicting the Phillies. We'll catch you tomorrow in Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
3 stacks, keep your heart. Man, these girls are smart. 3 stacks, these girls are smart. Play your part. Play your part.
It's Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
By the way, Chris Watkins, great news for you.